Welcome to round 13 SANFL action. It's 2nd versus 7th this afternoon. Central District against Port Adelaide. And the Magpies, well, they're not travelling too well, are they? 1 win and 6 losses this season. And they're in that bunch at the bottom of the SANFL table. It's pretty much unexpected for Port. On the other hand, Central's, well, really, they're up and flying again. The defending premiers, and they have 3 wins and 1 loss here at Elizabeth. That 1 loss was to the team that is at the top of the ladder, the Eagles. But nevertheless, Central's acknowledged as the team to beat in 2004 in the SANFL competition. They are a power, and have a look at that. What a beautiful afternoon it is, and somewhat of a surprise. The weather here this afternoon at Elizabeth, some horrible weather in Adelaide during the week, but it's wonderful conditions here at Elizabeth. Hello, wherever you're watching, and welcome also to Andrew Rogers. Good match this afternoon in Prospect.
Oh, it really should be. I mean, Port Adelaide are really under the pump. They lose today. They're 2 games percentage outside the finals already. Lose today. It's really hard to see them making the finals for the 3rd year in a row. Unheard of at Alberton.
Absolutely unheard of. You wonder what's going to happen to Coach Matthew Knights if that happens. But we'll move on to last night when the round got underway at the Adelaide Oval. Sturt, what an imposing victory that is in wet conditions at the Adelaide Oval. 16-13 plays 2-5. Norwood not scoring a goal after the 15-minute mark of the opening term.
When you talk about Matthew Knights under pressure, you've certainly got to say Gary McIntosh is under pressure down at Norwood. Perhaps hasn't got the cattle to work with. But Sturt just rolling on nicely there in 3rd place. Can offer a serious challenges to the top 2 come later in the year.
Well, we just look at those other matches quickly. That West versus South match this afternoon is a battle for 5th spot. The Heritage game is between North and Glenelg at Prospect, and that's plenty to look forward to. The Eagles have won. They sit on top. The Eagles 10 in a row, having lost their opening match of the season. Central's in 2nd place, and way down the bottom, unexpected and unlikely territory for Port Adelaide with 3 wins and 7 losses. Quick look through those leading goal kickers, and Central's have a player up there in Daniel Schell, who we'll see this afternoon. Nobody from Port in the list.
And unusually for Centrals, that they have spread the load around up forward, very much so in previous years. All of a sudden they got Daniel Schell full-time from the Adelaide Crows, but also Nick Prokopek is an emerging player, gives them a valuable forward target.
All right, well, we talked about, I just mentioned briefly that game between North Adelaide and Glenelg this afternoon as a heritage match. And just have a look at what they'll be wearing. The jumper that Glenelg is wearing, and the black and gold, or mustard as it was called by David Noble and Matthew Doldig, who are modelling it there, is a 1934 Premiership jumper. Andrew Jarman poking fun at them. The North Adelaide coach there wearing their 3-time Premiership jumper from very early in the century. Darryl Wintle, the captain, is modelling it there. And first of all, I caught up with Andrew Jarman and David Noble. First, we'll hear from Andrew Jarman just about the heritage idea and the concept and how it's working.
Well, I'm wearing the 1902 North Adelaide jumper, the first one ever put together by the footy club. And the Glenelg coach David Noble was very cheeky and said, "I look like a sailor, I look like Popeye the Sailor Man." But no, I'm very excited. I think it's a great concept, and it's great that 2 rival footy clubs, Glenelg and North Adelaide, have got behind the Heritage Week, and hopefully we'll have a big crowd and a great game of footy. I'd like to see all clubs get behind it. There's no doubt about that. And Norwood are very old, Sturt, and obviously the North Adelaide Footy Club. So, yeah, let's be a bit different than most of the other clubs, and let's come up with some new ways and new concepts to keep introducing our great game of footy, the SANFL, and promoting it. And that's what we're trying to do this weekend.
I think that the idea with North Adelaide and ourselves, we're going to be wearing our 1934 Premiership jumper. I know they're wearing, I think, a 1902 jumper. I think it's got fantastic merit. I think our supporters of each club like to see the history still being cherished around the place. But I'd love to see other clubs get on board. I think it's a great idea.
Well, it's a great idea for the SANFL to consider for all clubs, I guess, next season. And certainly Glenelg not doing so well, but North Adelaide in 3rd position this season. But those 2 clubs have provided 6 wooden spoons in the past 6 years.
Yeah, dating back to the mid and late 80s, they were the 2 powerhouse. They traded premierships, so it's a wonderful concept. Surely the SANFL will look at it for all clubs next year.
Well, we look forward to this afternoon's match now, and pretty much as expected, Port Adelaide dominates every club in the competition, but have not been dominant for the last few seasons.
And unashamedly, Central Districts used the formula that Port Adelaide used to get to the top of the table, and now they lead the table, and they are now the benchmark in the competition.
And we look at that last time they met, Central's very hard-fought win down at Alberton.
Yes, it was. Port Adelaide coming off having heavily recruited, a new coach, were very competitive down at Alberton. Unfortunately, since then they've fallen away. Really haven't been able to beat the sides that have been around them to cement some sort of spot in the five.
Well, you mentioned a new coach, Matthew Knights, of course, in his first season at Alberton, and the coaching of each club is the subject of Michael Maney's view this week.
Thanks, Neil. Well, plenty of action in South Australian football in the coaching department. I thought I'd take a look today at some of the SANFL coaches that are under the pump. And let's start with the Bays Glenelg. David Noble's been there for a year and a half, just 7 wins from 31 starts. Hasn't been a good time for David. The club didn't go out and recruit a top-level forward to take a mark and kick a goal. Plenty of inside 50, but the Bays are struggling at the moment. How long can David Noble hang on? Last night, Sturt dished it up to Norwood, who have just the 2 wins in 2004. Gary McIntosh took the club to a prelim final in 2002, but is really struggling. They've just got 9 players from their list and 11 wins in the last 31 games. Things looking crook at Norwood. And today, Matthew Knights coaching against Central District. Well, he's going to be up against it, Matthew Knights. 3 wins so far this year. He's got plenty of work to do. Stephen Williams had 5 this time last year. Will they hang on? Let's hope they do. That's my view. I'm Michael Maney.
Thanks, Michael, and I'll tell you that one coach who will hang on will be Roy Laird, I would have thought, from Central District. He's got the job for as long as he wants. So what's the story, though, with the Central side this afternoon?
Well, good afternoon, everyone. A late change for the Bulldogs. Tyson Hay damaged his groin at training during the week. He's going to be replaced by Josh Coult, who's coming in for his first game this season. Skipper Daniel Healy and key playmaker Simon Arnott are still missing with soft tissue injuries. They should resume in around a fortnight, just in time for another Central District's premiership assault, Neil.
Right on cue. Let's have a look at that team, and as we expect, I mean, look, it is strong all over the park.
I think that their biggest advantage over Port Adelaide today is in the midfield. They have got a number of players that they run through in the midfield, exactly where Sturt and the Eagles can match them. So Port Adelaide, Tony Brown's been a standout, but just hasn't had the help. So I'd expect that will be where the game is won and lost today.
And from a Port Adelaide point of view, Sodas, I guess they'd be expecting to do something just maybe a little different this afternoon.
Well, maybe win, Neil. That's something a little bit different that they would like. Paul Evans returns after missing a couple of months with a groin injury to the forward line. Nigel Fegert has been named at fullback, pushing Corey Archie to centre-half forward. That leaves Mark Clayton at centre-half back. I'm not convinced he'll start there. I think Craig Parry more likely to get the key defensive job, Neil.
And as we just look through that side again, Corey Archie at centre-half forward makes interesting reading. But we're just about set for a start in this round 13 class. Central's against Port at Elizabeth. Here's Michael Maney with the opening bounce.
Thank you, Neil. Second up against 7th in the competition. And just off camera a few moments ago, Kane Ackland, the ruckman for Port Adelaide, just checking with the umpire to see exactly how far he was going to throw the ball into the air. Umpires Pfeiffer, Grun and Cowell. Beautiful day at Elizabeth. Umpires in the SANFL, well, they do throw the ball up in preference to bouncing. Round 13, SANFL football. Port and Central. Up goes Ackland. He was outstanding last week with 34 tap-outs taken by Thomas of the Bulldogs. He kicks it long inside forward 50. Ball hits the deck. In they go. Fegert tried to barge through and couldn't quite get through. He was held up. And we will have a bounce inside 50. A ball up at least. Magnificent conditions. Shell and Parry. Taken by Brown. Just a handball in hope. Schooler below his knees, not good. Burns got it to King. King kicks it long. And Evans takes the mark. Paul Evans. Couple of kicks out. From actually splitting the middle. Goes out to no one. Elstone's there. Just hooks it in with the left hand. Good looking kick to the square. It's been shepherded through, just knocked through by Graham. Let's go down to Mark Soderstrom. What's the weather like today, Mark?
Well, Michael, it's pretty good to hear at Elizabeth. There's a little bit of breeze going straight across the ground. If anything, it may favour Central Districts, kicking to the left of the screen. A top of 15 degrees, maybe some showers at the moment. The skies are clear and it looks fantastic.
Well, Central's trying to make the most of that breeze, kicking direct and long down the middle. Port Adelaide fighting back. Tipper Squale, good possession. Down towards half forward. McDowell letting in the chase for the ball. Under pressure, though. In fact, pressured just about off the ball, and eventually it'll be over the line. No, Officer backed up really well, and good disposal. Finds Thomas. He'll have an option on this side. That's the way they swing it, and there are runners in turn for Central District. Fitzner came into the side late, driving down into centre half forward. Prokopek got a hand to the ball. Hand pass from Bello went astray. Now it's fallen for Ware. Here's the opening goal. You'd think it will roll through. Well, just bustling the ball forward, Centrals.
Just really good composure across half-back by Kane Officer to keep the ball in and just to bring the ball back inside, and they switch the ball to the grandstand side beautifully. Nick Prokopek just providing a target up forward. Don't always have to take a lot of marks to be valuable up forward. Brought it front and centre, and Elijah Ware, who's been a revelation out here at Elizabeth, panics a little bit under pressure, but gets his foot to the footy and finishes off nicely.
13th career goal to Elijah Ware. Just the 12 games. Very dangerous player. Ackland again. Shark by Gowans to Slade. Tumbling old ball. Out comes Parry. Had no one to give it to. Davis was the intended target. Steinburner squeezes out the back to O'Loughlin, whose kick is nearly chopped off by Hopwood. Archie. Good work by Slade. Good body work. Elstone corralled. Nowhere to go. And we'll give away a free kick for a fend-off that's too high against Matthew Slade. Let's have a look at it, Andrew.
Just got to be careful about fending off against a small rover. You can see Elstone just fends off. And, yep, a little bit too high. Good decision by the umpire.
Elstone's kick just to a pack situation. Tough nut De Pasquale. Got it to that man, Elstone. It's a horrible kick. Graham just sees it out of bounds. Go down to the Centrals bench with sodas.
Yes, Michael, Matthew Krieg, Luke Cowan, and welcome to season 2004, Josh Coulter.
He missed 5 or 6 weeks with that broken jaw. Out here at Elizabeth, Craig Parry, the offender. Parry playing today. In the ruck, Ackland just got rid of Schooler. Thomas has been prominent. So too this man this year in Matthew Slade. His kick toward Ware. Good work by Steinburner. Tackling has been good so far. 2 committed sides really going hard at it in the first 4 or 5 minutes. The umpire will come in and ball it up. Let's go to the Port bench and Mark Soderstrom.
Fabian Francis, Clayton and Matthew Ashley sitting on the pine to start their game.
Well, Stephen Grant, as you see, bouncing the ball, so he's on an AFL list. That's how you tell the difference now. Of course, the SANFL umpires will tend to throw the ball up. So Grant coming in, ordering another bounce, centre wing.
Just find an interesting matchup. Craig Parry playing fullback on Daniel Shell. Able to release Scott Stevens to go to centre half forward. Shell might be a little bit too quick for Parry.
Speaking of quick, Thomas is quick. Just socket the ball forward. Slade wanted to hand pass it immediately, fumbled it under pressure, perhaps even in the back. Umpire said no.
Just good intensity by the Magpies early. Really have been hard at Central District, so that's what they need to be competitive in today's game.
Well, as much as Port has struggled this season, they did beat Centrals twice last year, though the only club, in fact, not to be beaten by Central District in season 2003. Good record. They beat them by 33 points and 34 points in round 8 and round 21. Quick hand pass out. Burns had a lot of hand passes last week. I'll come back to that in a moment. This time he kicks the ball down to centre half forward. That looked like holding by Corey Archie. Ball to ground, in dispute, and we'll get another bounce down.
Don't old habits die hard there. As a natural defender, he's certainly looking for body contact. Just needs to get back, to have his free jump at it, bring the ball front and centre for his crummers.
Ball to ground again, taken by Schooler, quickly to Thomas. Into open territory he goes with the kick. Long and high, a couple of players underneath it. Great mark. He has been prominent early, has Slade. And for a little man, such a good mark. And look at the run. Swatala inside 50, just a fumble. Kick just a little too far in front of him, out of bounds on the far side of the ground. They are missing a few players, of course, Port Adelaide. One of them, this man, Shea Cockatoo Collins, came down heavily on his shoulder in that match at the Adelaide Oval in round 8 and won't be sighted for the rest of the season. Shea Cockatoo Collins, badly damaging his shoulder. He didn't perhaps realise immediately how bad it was, and in fact they had so many injuries that day, Port Adelaide, that Cockatoo Collins had to come back on the field with a bad shoulder.
Been missing out of this side, that's for sure. Loose ball, James Gowans, body in, over the football. Guess who? Chris Gowans, off to Thomas. Thomas inside 50, loads up a long kick to the square that's been marked by Prokopec. Just held his ground, took the mark deep in that pocket. That's the advantage of a long kick inside your forward 50. Something's got to be done about Thomas. You just about need to run a tag on him from half back because he is very damaging.
Yeah, it could very much in Matty Knight's aim there, maybe to run a tag on him, but Heath Hopwood does exactly the same thing. You can't tag too.
Prokopec has missed. Just ran around and got a bit too much hook on it. He's kicked 21 goals, 6 now for the year, Nick Prokopec.
Just need to think through that a little bit more. Really, as a key forward and as a goal-kicking forward, should really finish those goals.
Just waiting for the ball to come back. Local footy takes its time. Kids enjoying an opportunity just to get a handle on the ball that the big guys use. So here's Funk. A lot of experience for Funk, and he's gone into a nest of trouble over there, or a kennel of trouble with the Bulldogs. Look at that. Easy as you like. In comes Slade for the goal. No! A stray and a bad mistake, really. But then again, a horrible mistake coming out of defence by Port Adelaide, the way they worked that. Let's have another look.
And Ross Funky, being an experienced former AFL player, certainly sold Jeremy Jakes into some sort of problems there. And a left foot on his non-preferred side. Great attack by Matty Slade. Just panicked a little bit under pressure there.
Long kick. Bulldogs everywhere. Taken by Shell. Shell got a call from Cochrane. He sat it high. And the mark was taken by Slade, but he's been penalised for a push on O'Loughlin. O'Loughlin, the short kick to the outer side and Parry. Great Parry. Wobbly old kick to the wing. You hear the call, Steve-O, Scott Stevens. Kicks up forward, looking for Archie. Just got a metre or two on Quentin Graham, who made him earn it, that's for sure. Corey Archie, we saw him kick 3 goals a few weeks ago. Just hacks a ball inside 50, looking for Evans. He goes to ground too quickly. Got it out to Brown, who's caught with a footy. Slung in the tackle. Steinburner, another good tackle off to Hyde. Just fell in his arms, a man with the long sleeves. Looking for Ware. Ware quick enough. He's got plenty of toe. He can have a bounce or two. Fitzgerald just about got him. Long kick by Ware. Doesn't get inside 50. Parry with the knock away. Ball just booted out of there. Swatala just edged his body out of it with man. Ware covering plenty of territory. Just hooks it to centre half forward. O'Loughlin should take the mark and does. And Ricky O'Loughlin, who has been in and out of form this year, just boots to the outer side and finds Ross Funk.
Funk inside of Fitzgerald, put him under pressure again. Fitzgerald was good enough to give it back to Funk. They haven't got much forward of the play. They go short to Brown in the centre of the ground. Tony Brown, a Magarey medalist, great kick. That's why he's a Magarey medalist. Finds Davis, came across from North Adelaide this season. Davis inside 50 with the kick. That should be marked by Archie. It is. Well, that was better from Port Adelaide. A very, very skilled build-up, and in the end, Davis finding Archie with the mark out in front, 40 metres from goal.
And a good kick there by Chad Davis, but Mike, you were asked earlier about what you do with Paul Thomas. That's what you do to him. You make him accountable for a player by kicking it to his players so he has to man up on someone. And Chad Davis is a highly skilled player. If Paul Thomas gives him too much space, you can see the end result here.
Well, Archie, question how much you punish Paul Thomas, and he's been punished fully. Archie kicking through the ball, and Port Adelaide back within a point.
So Corey Archie, as I said, he's very competitive in the areas. He gets a bit of rough stuff there from Quinton. And you can see here Chad Davis brings the ball back into the middle and a beautifully weighted kick. And Corey Archie's very strong overhead. And importantly for the Magpies, they have been very competitive. They've had most of the footy so far. And just Corey Archie needed to get some sort of reward on the scoreboard.
Roy Laird just looking to boost his firepower up forward. Luke Cowan has gone into the pocket. He's been picked up by Nigel Feagott and Richard Cochrane off the ground.
Just shows the benefit of a good kick inside 50. Bello and the non-preferred Cowan crashes through. So too Fegan. Got a high kick. Ackland just kept out of it by School. I got a call from Fitzner, who took the mark in the centre of Elizabeth Oval and runs on. Missed a lot of footy last year with a chronic hamstring. Long kick. Oh, Ware, the opportunist, went without it. Good work by Cowan, who tried to get it to Gowans. Gowans back in there again. Proud calls ball. A bounce down. We saw the Archie kick inside 50, a scrubber to Evans going back a while. Just shows that if you use the football inside 50, Port have got a show.
They certainly do, and if you don't use the footy, the Central District's back line will run this out very quickly, and it can be down the other end in a matter of seconds, and they can score.
Interesting to see that O'Loughlin is being made accountable by Matthew Knights, playing him across the half-back line. Brown will just set up his teammate in Davis. Just crunch from behind. Beat De Pasquale, can't get it. Good work by Fitzner. Out to Thomas. Good tackle by McDowell. He dropped the football. Good tackling. Advantage rule paid. It goes to Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald kicks it long. Evans can't take the mark. Graham's there, off to Hyde. Decides to go off the ground. Thought he might have bent over and picked it up. Scott Stevens keeps it in play. Kicked off the ground by off to Hyde. Burns, we know he's clever. Handball out to McDowell. McDowell, will he make them pay? Long kick by McDowell is just away to the right. Scott Stevens doing well on the boundary line, off to Hyde. Decided to kick it off the ground instead of pick it up.
Kicking off the ground in the back line is very much fraught with danger. Would rather you see pick it up. Look, if you get tackled, hold the ball in. You're not going to get pinged for holding the ball, but Nathan McDowell really needs to finish those opportunities. But good work there by Ronnie Burns.
Scores level as Central's just look for an option now out of defence. It's a long one. It's an indirect one, and Archie will mark it. So Archie looks back inside 50, must have players loose, and he does. One of them, Evans, on the shortest of leads, takes the mark, and he'll have a shot on goal, and he'll kick from maybe 45 metres. And that is the trouble, Andrew. You get a bad kick in that situation, and because your players, because your opposition players are zoning, they're all free inside 50.
It certainly is. Always should be space. So if you can get thump it back, or you can actually take the mark from the kick out, you're always a chance to score back on the rebound.
Evans, a powerful kick. And usually a long kick. This time just couldn't quite make this distance. Punched away on the line. Hopwood goes across, content to take it to the line. Umpire said that was okay, although somewhat suspicious, I would have thought. So another look at Quinton Graham, pointing with options, and then not expecting the ball, obviously, to go there. His man Archie kept an eye on the ball as the ball now is thrown in the forward pocket for Port Adelaide. James Gowans with a hand pass out, met solidly by Archie, and is still speaking to him as the ball gets down towards centre wing. Steinberner bustled over the line, and eventually the ball goes over the line as well. Good work from that man there, Christian De Pasquale.
Very good matchup, that. Nathan Steinberner, a really good player, been a good player to his look for a long time. De Pasquale, recruited to the club this year, has been one of their better players.
Big job also for Ben Fitzner on Ronnie Burns. Ball thumped away. McDowell first there at the back. Thomas, he'll run it out of bounds. Ran out of real estate, Paul Thomas. Boundary throw in. And a very good afternoon to Patrick Rocker, who's a little bit crook, one of our top men here at ABC Television, and helps us out enormously. Hope you get well soon, Patrick. Taken by Steinberner. Wobbly old kick. It'll fall in the lap of Jakes. Jakes, one of the youngsters on the side, kicks long. Archie the target. Pack mark by Archie. He's going to be paid, or is the man in front going to be paid? It's going to be taken by Slade. Away it goes to Hopwood. Just seeing a little bit of a replay. Jakes goes back. Ball taken by Cowan. Around the body. Which way will it bounce for Luke? It's a goal. Well, the umpires paid advantage near the centre of the ground, and the Bulldogs get their second.
Just tremendous courage there by Matty Slade. We saw it on replay earlier to back into the pack, and just Luke Cowans, everyone dropped off him. They expected him to handball to give back to his site. Generally a rule in a club is no U-turns. No one just went at him there, and Luke Cowans just turned it around the corner, watched it roll through. Central Districts are very efficient when they go forward.
Andrew, a change. Cowans just kicked the goal. He's gone into the ruck. Paul Scholar off the ground, and Josh Coulter into the forward line.
Interesting, Cowans doesn't ruck often, but as you see, can be effective right over the top. He gets it into the pass of James Gowans, and Gowans just bustled away from the ball. Eventually, will get a bounce. No, he won't. Umpire coming in and ruling a free kick. Gowans penalised, or at least Slade was penalised. So the kick now from Mann out towards Stevens on the chest mark.
Good match-up, Stevens and Sibanala.
Yeah, like that. Stevens has been disappointing this year, though.
Long kick inside 50. Evans, good bustle, got his man away from the ball off the height.
Now, needs to move this ball quickly. You can see him have a shot from a similar distance before, didn't make the distance. He's now backing himself in again. He cannot kick this to the goal line because the defenders will just punches through for a point, make it very easy for him. He really needs to time this kick well.
Stevens and Archie heading down there along with Kane Ackland for Port Adelaide. Goes very, very close to the line. Ackland in the middle of the pack. It comes down and will get up, bounced out eventually. Ackland is in there, and a couple of Central's players as well. And umpire Tim Pfeiffer will come in and call for the ball.
And a classic example, you can see Luke Cowans in the centre of the pack there. All he wanted to do was tap that through. Paul Evans just needs to learn from that.
Fitzgerald. Now Slade, clever from Slade, got it to Steinburner. Nothing ahead of him in terms of options except that man, Chris Gowans, gave it back to Steinburner. Now it's 2-on-1 down centre wing. They can't kick it forward without risking a turnover. They go to where it's come off the back of Dipper Squally. Would have helped if he'd been watching. Funk, clever. O'Loughlin, too clever, and eventually over the boundary line. Centrals did well in that situation. They were outnumbered.
Interesting use of Ricky O'Loughlin today across half-back as a creative half-back, similar to Justin Sikalella for the Eagles. Just to know whether he's going to be tight enough to get some value out of it.
Ackland got a nudge, tried to get it to Ashley, who's on the ground for the Maggies. Ball out of bounds. Elstone off the ground by the looks of it, Mark, and Matty Ashley on.
Yeah, just a change there. I think Matty Ashley, a pretty dogged type midfielder, and putting some pressure on the Gowans boys.
Might mind a bit of rough stuff, Ashley. Ackland got rid of it from the contest. Slade, another possession to him. We'll get his stats in a moment. He's been prominent. Got it to Bello. Bello just kicks to an open forward line. Fegan, you've got to one grab it in this competition, otherwise you're gone. O'Loughlin, was that a throw? Umpire said play on. King was in there hard. Also Jakes, big pack of players. James Gowans on the bottom of that pack, and we'll have the ball up or a bounce, whichever umpire is AFL listed or SANFL listed.
Just starting to see the difference between the two sides. Under pressure, Central Districts execute far better than the Magpies.
Matthew Slade, 5 kicks and 3 handballs already.
Has been prominent, had an outstanding year so far, Matty Slade. Umpire throws it up. Prokopek ended up getting the knockdown to that man Slade. You really just can't keep away from it. I think if he tried to run away from the ball, Andrew, at the moment, would just follow him, hit him on the back of the head.
He's a complete package. I mean, played in their 2000 premiership side as a youngster, and really just a developing player, has really formed probably their best on baller now.
Another developing player is Prokopek, who got it to Shell, who wore one in the back of the scone, but held his ground and took a lovely mark and will shoot for goal. There's Prokopek.
And there's just that matchup. Craig Parry hasn't played in defence a lot of times, just needed to work his way to the front. A natural forward in Shell, just worked his way to the front as the ball was in the bounce up. And he really just maybe a little bit too forward smart for Parry, who hasn't played in defence too often.
He's booted 33 goals, 12 this year, Daniel Shell. This to take it out to 12 points for the Doggies. They don't miss him from there, generally. And Daniel Shell has a very good kick for goal. And he gets his first.
That's just smart forward play. We'll get a look at the replay, and Prokopek just wins it out of the pack. And Shell just works his way to the front, so any kick that comes quickly out of the pack, he gets first look at. And you can see him take a good hand, good mark overhead. And Parry just will rather see him and Ackland probably changing up forward, so they've got a marking target. Maybe time for Stevens to go back.
Great work from Prokopek in the middle of the pack, bustling through, showing a very strong young man. His first full season at league level in SANFL. Back in the middle, and again Cowan not quite getting it. I thought he actually got first touch, and now Port Adelaide though go forward. McDowell chips it short. Evans on the lead, couldn't take the mark over the back. Sibanala read it best. Sibanala then to wing. Bellows got some room. He's got Switala running in front of him. Switala with a lot of space, chooses to use a long kick instead. O'Loughlin at the back. The punch came, quickly roved by Centrals. Around the corner from Slade, he's had plenty of the ball, and it's out in the forward pocket. That quick.
And it all stems from a Nathan McDowell kick where he went short to a 50-50 with Paul Evans, who was under pressure. You can see the way the Doggies, they run the ball superbly out of defence. So we had a look at Roy Laird, very content man, just things right nicely rolling on here at Elizabeth.
Quick change for the Magpies. Ronnie Burns off the ground on Fabian Francis.
We'll make into play. In dispute. O'Loughlin did well, just kicked it loosely out of the forward 50, keeping his feet hopward, got it to Steinburner, used pace to get around O'Loughlin, lines up the goal. Steinburner a little bit narrow with the kick.
Good effort by Heath Hopwood to get it to Nathan Steinburner. It's out to 13 points, the difference. Good contest at Elizabeth Oval as Jakes just retrieves the football. And we'll give it to Ross Funk, who at the best of times with his surety out of this position. Missed a couple of targets, Ross Funk. 22, it's about to tick into 23 minutes. Funk decides to pump it long to look for Ackland. Umpire said, yes, you've just held on to it enough, Kane. Takes the mark. Up against Luke Cowan, who's a pretty good grab. As the umpire, just off camera, slipped over, umpire Pfeiffer. Ball kicked to the wing. Stevens just goes back, tries to get it. Fitzner got it to Sibanala, who's well tackled. And another ball up. There's another change down there, Sodas.
Yeah, Elijah Ware, the first goal kick of the match has come off the ground. Richard Cochran back into the midfield.
Time ticking away in this quarter. Ball just knocked out toward Cochran, fresh onto the ground. Won't go inside 50. Nice mark by that man, Slade. He's outside, he's kicking distance. He's got Coulter in short and finds him. And Josh Coulter will kick from 40 metres out on a slight angle. Good work by Slade. Quickly got the eyes up, hit the target.
Yes, and the Port Adelaide defender just needs to learn that if he goes, then you've got to go. Matthew Slade has been good overhead so far today. You can see there just in the shot, Nigel Feagert just dropped off Josh Coulter, trying to protect his goal square. Smartly, Josh Coulter worked forward and gets on the end and kicks a nice goal.
Lovely kick by Coulter. As the Doggies get their fourth goal, things are starting to look a bit difficult at the moment for the Magpies.
They certainly are, and we can really starting to see the difference between the two sides here. Port Adelaide very much finding their way where the confidence at Elizabeth is high. And Matthew Slade, he's been in everything so far. Just smart play there by Coulter, just not to push back to the square, try to make Nigel Feagert accountable, and importantly, he made him pay. And Central Districts had just extended their lead. Just some worrying times now for the Port Adelaide camp.
Worrying indeed as Cowan's a makeshift ruckman doing some good work in the centre square. Nice crowd at Elizabeth. Of course, a bit of a break for the AFL clubs this afternoon, so this is the only local footy you're going to see. Get another throw up, bounce down, wait and see which one the umpire chooses. Gets the game moving fast, the throw up. Ackland just got it forward. We might get another bounce here. No, ball squeezed out by Francis. That was fortuitous. Davis in a bit of space, approaching 50. Goes for the pass to Evans, who lost his man.
And just the value of getting a quick kick out of a pack there as we get Mark Clayton coming on for his first run for the day. But just the value of a quick kick out of a pack. Chad Davis was able to drop off the back of the pack and hit him with a nice kick. And Paul Evans, who's had a number of opportunities, really, Port Adelaide really need this goal.
And off camera while Evans is coming in to kick this, a lot of congratulations from the Magpies players to Chad Davis, and that's where Evans will head straight away to congratulate Davis on giving him the opportunity. And Evans kicks truly, and what do you know, Port Adelaide gets one back.
Yes, we've seen Chad Davis involved with earlier a goal for Corey Archie, and once again you can see his foot skills are very high. Just gives it a nice air out in front of Paul Evans. And importantly for the Magpies, Paul Evans goes back, nails a goal, just gives them some sort of momentum as we just edge towards quarter time.
As you mentioned just before, Mark Clayton has come onto the ground replacing Matthew King. The reason for that is that Matty Slade's running amok, and that is now Clayton's man.
Stole my thunder, thanks Sodas. Good work down on the boundary. Back to 13 points. Ackland got it down. Steadying goal by Evans. They needed that. Hopwood wobbles one forward. Shell knocked away. Steinburner with pace. Wormburner from Steinburner. Coulter couldn't get it. Just crashed through O'Loughlin. Prokopek, the loose handball. Cochrane caught one around the head. And I thought he might have been tripped on the way through, and the umpires pinned him for holding the ball. What's happening, Andrew?
Well, obviously he was blindsided there, the umpire, because Cochrane just connected a knee from Nigel Fegan, I think it was. As we get a look at the replay, there's Josh Coulter going through, gets heavily met, and just after this, you see Cochrane get just felled by a knee from Nigel Fegan. Unfortunately, the umpire didn't see it, and to add salt into the wound, he's added 25 to it.
He's fired the crowder. Ashley got the free kick. Officer can't take the mark. Man taken by McDowell. Handball. Just went straight up in the air. Had a man on over the top, McDowell, and couldn't quite get it. Let's have another look at that. A little bit of an indiscretion there. What's your decision? A lot in it, you would think. Ball on the outer side. Knocked down by Archie to the run of Brown. Brown squeezed the kick out nicely to Davis. Davis set up their last goal, but it's a little bit too late to set up another one. It's quarter time at Elizabeth Oval, where things got pretty hot under the collar late in that term. There's Jeremy off to hide with Heath Hopwood. So at quarter time, Central District 4-3-27. They lead the Port Adelaide Magpies 2-2-14.
And it really just has been a matter of the efficiency of the doggies so far today. Port Adelaide have worked really hard. They've tackled, they've played with good intensity around the footy. They just haven't quite got the class of the Central District's midfielders, and they really trail mainly because of that reason. For Central Districts, they just continue to roll along. As we get a look at the goal kickers, they're all singles. Cowan, Shell, Coulter and Ware all with one each. And for the Magpies, Evans and Archie just got hit with Chad Davis kicks, went back and importantly converted.
And the stats, what do you make of those? Because, look, they look fairly even, except for maybe handballs and that dreaded inside 50s.
They can be deceiving the way they bring it inside 50. But Port Adelaide, as I said, they've worked hard enough to get enough of the footy. They've had enough of it. They just really haven't been as efficient as what the Central District's on-ballers have been.
In some ways, perhaps not gelling yet as a side under Matthew Knights?
Oh, it could well be. They've had a number of new recruits. They've got some up-and-coming youngsters as well. So they really just haven't gelled as well. So you've got to remember this Central District side has been together for 4 or 5 years, played in three premierships in that time. They just know what each other is going to do.
All right, well, of course, last night we mentioned the round got underway at the Adelaide Oval. Sturt against Norwood. It was expected Norwood, well, this is a traditional clash, isn't it? Two of those teams that are the traditional rivals. Norwood, it was expected, would put up a performance, and in the end, they didn't give much of a yelp because they only kicked 2 goals for the match. They didn't kick a goal after the 15-minute mark of the opening term.
And you would expect in those conditions it really gets down to a battle of wills. It's not going to be free-flowing, high-quality football where you're going to hit full forwards all the time. So you've really got to put a question mark over the endeavour and the intensity that Norwood showed last night. Look, certainly quality and players can come into it and how good they are. But I think Gary McIntosh will be very much disappointed with just their competitiveness, that they're unwilling to compete in a contest.
And they got hammered from time to time, as you can see by that. Yes, Sturt were coming off 2 losses to North Adelaide and the Eagles, 2 top 5 sides. And Norwood, on the other hand, well, look, they've had 3 wins this season. They are bottom of the ladder, and they don't look like going anywhere at this stage, especially with a result like that. Look at that final score, 16-13, 109, Norwood 2-5-17. A massive 92-point victory for the Double Blues.
And certainly won't come finals time. Percentage is going to play a very important factor in the 3rd position. It looks as though the Eagles and Centrals are away, but Sturt get a good percentage booster out of last night's game.
They certainly do, and Well, we thought at times during the first quarter of this match, as we revisit that opening term, that there were stages when it looked like Centrals could concoct a score like we saw last night.
Certainly, you can see that just Elijah Ware has been heavily involved early, but they've just got so many players. We really haven't seen much from the Gowans twins so far. It's been Matty Slade who's been the standout. But Port Adelaide really haven't had that player that can take it on. Chad Davis has been good in patches, played mainly as a half forward. You can see his high quality kicking skills to put that out in front of Corey Archie. And we saw later in the quarter hit Paul Evans with a kick. See, he's instrumental, but just really haven't got enough of those players to get the footy. And Central just share the workload around so well.
Well, there is a case of the dam busting, you think, too, don't you? At some stage, Centrals will get a run on. On the other hand, we saw this type of match develop when Centrals lost their game to the Eagles out here earlier in the season.
They are very fast starting sides, and they generally like to blow teams away early. So if Port Adelaide can just hang in there, just compete, just be competitive for this quarter, maybe a couple of goals down at half time. You just don't know what can happen in a game of footy.
Well, you don't, but I suppose Mark Soderstrom's got a better idea than we have. He's been down at ground level. Soders, what have you found out down there?
Well, Neil, very tight contest early, wasn't it, before Central Districts forged their way to the front. Coach Roy Laird is pretty happy with the way things are going. Elijah Ware, he's going to get in this quarter to just open up the forward line and let him rove and try and snare a couple of goals that way. A lot of praise for Josh Coulter, who's come on the ground, kicked the goal, dominated Nigel Feagett, and that's exactly the way Roy Laird wants them to continue in that second term.
And we'll just see if that does happen as we just have a look at those players walking around and have a look also at our SA Footy tipping website. Gary Helm, congratulations, winning tickets to the NES and SANFL match. Slow down, Neil, I will get this out. And let's have a look overall at the top place getters, and Kathy Wieskamp doing very well, still leading the way. Interesting. From the internet, you can go anywhere, and we have obviously people in Victoria and the Northern Territory also interested in the SANFL, interest also in our tipping, and as you can see, well, I can't say too much about that because I'm leading, aren't I? Never mind, we look forward to next week, and if you want to get involved, abc.net.au/SA Footy. So, look forward to that. And both clubs coming off the ground now. We're down to Soders, and he's got an interview for us.
Thanks, Neil. Joining me, injured playmaker Tyson Hay. Tyson, what's happened with the groin during the week?
Just had a little bit of a slight strain on Wednesday night, I think. So just took the cautious way and had a week off this week, so I should be right next week.
And the boys look like they've started pretty well against Port, always pretty tough. And I know Port fancy themselves at Elizabeth, but it has been a good start.
It has been a good start. We nearly get off a good start against a side like Port. So so far, so good. Midfield's been really good, so hopefully they keep going.
Thanks, Tyce. Hope to see you back next week. Here's Michael Marnie with a second term.
Good on you, Mark. Tyson Hay has been outstanding so far in the 2004 season. Let's hope he can get back on the park shortly. 13 points the difference at Elizabeth. Round 13, SANFL football. Up goes Schooler, knocked it down. Bello, dogs away again. Steinburner, long, high kick, hoping for a pack mark. Prokopek provides exactly that. Just running back with a flight of the footy, Nick Prokopek. He missed a goal earlier in the first term. There's an opportunity from right on 50 to put a nail in early to the Magpies' hope of a revival in the short term. Nick Prokopek did his apprenticeship in the reserves, come up through the junior ranks. Lovely looking kick by Prokopek. Has he got the journey? I think he might have done. Ball hits the deck. O'Loughlin will run it through from behind. That kick just dropping short. One behind. Just rush through. Let's have a look at it. From goal umpire Cam. Just kept in.
Well, the ball is back in now. Onto the far side of the ground. Smother Feagett involved there. Davis. Di Pasquale just overrunning it, coming back well. Tough player, Di Pasquale. Through centre half forward, he goes with a kick. Stevens made good position. Ball knocked away from him. Archie did the roving. Sibanela comes in. Two grabs, then finally gets it. Looked like he threw that. Fitzgerald almost thrown to ground. Got his hand pass out in front. Hopwood, tough man. Two-time best and fairest winner. Take it to ground. It's still It's tough. Finally, Elstone with the hand pass to Stevens. Couldn't get around his player. Should have just got it on the boot. Taken the ground. And in the back, said the umpire, Di Pasquale will get up and take the free kick for Port Adelaide. Well, they're a vocal group out here of supporters, and they weren't happy with that decision. Kick going in, Evans should have taken that ball low down. Simonella kept his feet, runs it out of defence for the Central side. The kick wasn't the best. Almost in trouble was Fitzner. Did well, got one high. And now the ironic cheers come from the Central's fans.
Fitzner goes in short and finds Hopwood, who sets it up at the back off to Hyde. Has got the short sleeve Guernsey on in this term. Kicks it long, just to a contest. Steinburner there. They dive on the footy. Ball knocked out the back. Fitzgerald. Elstone runs into a brick wall. In Slade can't get through. Ball up. Hot contest, Andrew. Port's desire is there.
It certainly is. And just Port Adelaide just need to get the ball going forward. They tend to, all they're trying to do is get the pressure away from their player, and they're giving to a player under worse pressure. So just get the ball on your boot to go going forward.
There's a man under pressure in Jakes. Umpire gives him the benefit of the doubt. The ball just held in.
That little kick from Chris Gowans was the first kick by either twin today. Both have had just 3 handballs before that.
Well, they do copy each other, Moggy. Good stat that. They're just going for handballs today. Shell over the top. Elstone ran into Jakes but got it away to Funk. Funk just eludes the tackler in Cochrane. Got it to Di Pasquale. Left footer. They get around nicely to Francis. Francis with the white boots. Kicks it long but not to the advantage of Scott Stevens as Simonella takes the mark. They'll have to switch and spread to either side of this big ground at Elizabeth, taken by Slade. Over the top, another handball to Chris Gowans, to Heath Hopwood, who just wobbles one forward. Shell couldn't take it. Parry just quickly went to ground. Umpire said it was a throw, or he got a push? He got a push. And Craig Parry takes the free kick after Coulter was off. And looking, staring down the barrel of a long goal, O'Loughlin. Let's have a look at it, Andrew. You're the expert.
Umpire's in a better position than me. I'm sitting on the fence on that one.
Davis got it from Mann. Long kick. Evans out of the contest. Good mark taken by Off to Hyde.
Just read that best off to Hyde. Evans came around, he went to the front of the pack, and the ball went straight over his head and into the arms of Off to Hyde. Now it's with Schooler. Schooler hasn't got many loose options on the far side, and nothing on this side either as Port Adelaide goes one-on-one. Should be forced to kick long, you'd think. What's the concentration like for the Port Adelaide players? Pretty good. Kick does go long. From behind, Shell with a big jump, took out a couple of players. Ball to ground, cleaned up by Port Adelaide. Inside the offensive area again, it comes to Archie, off to Davis. Davis with the long kick, dropping out the back was Burns, but it's through for a minor score. Davis would be disappointed with that.
They need to make the most of every opportunity they've had. We saw earlier that Paul Evans dropped the chest mark. Really should have snavelled that up. Chad Davis just hurt Central Districts on the rebound then. So we get a look at Daniel Shell with a big fly. Importantly, went over his own mate there in Paul Thomas. If you're going to take a big fly, make sure it's your opposition.
Drive something into the shoulders or the back of the head. Centrals work it out. Fitzner over the top, Off to Hyde. Kick smothered. Terrific work done there by Francis. Ball to be thrown back in. A bit casual, Andrew.
Yeah, it was a bit casual and a great smother there by Fabian Francis, but just wondering about bringing it back to where you start. Port Adelaide should not collapse their zone, so you really haven't got any space to work with on this side of the ground either.
Ruckman do battle, taken by Ackland. Had another go at it. Schooler, that didn't go 15. Hopwood slipped a couple to Off to Hyde. This time he gets the kick away, but it'll be chopped off by Peter Mann. Mann, couple of kicks out from goal. What's he got in front of him? Just urging his teammates to give him something. Goes with a long left footer. Up they fly. No one can take the mark. Graham at ground level's good to Slade. Another possession. Just out into wide open spaces. Steinburner just kicks it out of bounds. And both he and Di Pasquale say he was hanging on. 6 minutes gone, 28 plays 15.
I'd just like the Maggies to make more use of Kane Eklund's athleticism versus Josh Scholar. Push him around the, push around the packs, push him to spaces, make him accountable and use his athleticism.
Steinberner. He's done well, Steinberner, today, considering he's been carrying around Di Pasquale for the last 5 minutes. He's been very, very close, the Port Adelaide player. Ball to the front now, Cochrane roved it. Just sends Centrals another 20 or 30 metres down the line. Jakes over the ball, tapped it. Bad mistake in the end and decided to dive on it. Still it comes loose. Umpire calling play on. Clayton found some space, went towards the line. O'Loughlin said, I'll take it instead. Good dummy. Inside. Well, not the best of kicks, looking for Brown. Went nowhere near him. 1 on 3. Well won by Fitzner. And now Centrals will come clear. They're still under pressure, though. Port Adelaide, nothing if not dogged. Back into the midfield it goes. Fitzner, he has a bit of space. Fitzner now breaks. Goes long for Shell. On the lead, should take it. It's not through his hands. It's gone through his hands at least. Now roving, though, was Thomas taking the ground. Hand pass out. They had backup. Feagit did very well. He's got nobody to kick to, but he's got a lot of space to work with, Nigel Feagit. Hands up leading was Brown. Brown has some space to work with. Brown goes wider. Don't know if that was the best option. Stevens wheels around, looks long, goes towards Evans, can hurt somebody here, Evans, and he does by taking the mark.
And this is a tremendous play by Nigel Feagit. It's really an 11-point turnaround. Paul Thomas was just walking into an easy goal, could have given a hands off. Nigel Feagit able to smother the handball and then transference of play. Finally, Paul Evans gets it in his hands, gets a one-on-one competition. Look, their forward line is quite potent. They just need to get into more one-on-one contests.
It's a view from goal umpire Cam. At that end of the ground as Evans comes in. Not much of a breeze to distract him. It's just a question of accuracy. And he has his second of the afternoon at Port Adelaide creep within 7 points.
Exactly what I spoke about at quarter time. If the Magpies can just hang in there and work hard, you can see Stevens, who's been moved forward, gets a long kick right into the hot spot, and just Evans reads it better off the boot. And Chad Davis was the other option. Paul Evans can finish with a goal, kicks his second for the day. Some of the Magpies within 7 points just need to persist and keep themselves in the game.
Inside 50s, 19-15 in favour of Centrals. Port trail by 7 points. Schooler tries to lift his side, shark by Elstone, good smother. Out the back, Elstone got it again. A dive on the football, in goes Gowans, held it in. Umpires will not pay holding the ball as James Gowans really relaxed that rule. Ball thrown up, big pack of plays over the back. O'Loughlin, shark by Slade, another kick to him. Funk couldn't get it. Prokopec, quick with hands, had it sold before. He should have. In goes Cochrane, and a free kick will go to the Magpies against Cochrane. So things not running too good for Cochrane at the moment. It went to Clayton, who got it to O'Loughlin. To Brown in a bit of space, has been in plenty of space. He goes to Davis. Oh, Davis just had it spent. Hopwood did brilliantly. Fitzner, he's caught. Davis makes up for it, gets it to Burns. Burns kicks down the line looking for Stevens. Knocked away by Sibinala. Kicked off the ground by Off to Hide. Boundary throw in. Chad Davis, what on earth? You've got to take those.
Just like the way the Magpies are playing on quickly out of defence, trying to move the ball quickly, take a few risks. They need to do that to kick the winning score they need to kick today.
Well, the young girls there. Come on, Bulldogs. Boundary throw in. 7 points the difference. 10.5 minutes gone. Ackland got it down. Brown couldn't get through the Thomas tackle. Tackling has been a feature today, Andrew.
Yeah, both sides have really been hard at it. Been very impressed with the Maggies. They really have come to play.
At ground level. Ball just squeezed out. Elstone not going anywhere. As Swatala wraps him up.
And you just wonder about their consistency over the year. Look, against lesser sides, they would probably be a fair way in front. So Matthew Knights would be frustrated by their inability to do this week in, week out.
They do lift when they play Central District, don't they?
Oh, there's no doubt they're traditional rivals. They had some great battles late in the 90s, in the mid 90s, and Central Districts have assumed their mantle.
Man coming through the pack, still a couple of boots in there. Davis diving on it, missed it. Hopwood took it cleanly. Fitzner shares it with Gowans off the left foot. Gowans a bit high with the kick. Feagit in the front, but his man in Coulter almost roved it. Now they both dive at the ball, and the crowd was holding the ball. And it's play on, and Jakes goes forward, and he could have another marker forward for Evans. Two hands on it, and almost was able to take it. Burns couldn't take it off the pack. In the end, Central's able to rush it over the line. No call there. Well, there were a couple of free kicks that could have been paid. Another change coming up. Coulter coming off the ground. And Elijah Ware going back on. The tall for the small, or the small for the tall, whatever. Come back to that in a moment as the ball's in the forward pocket for Port Adelaide. Archie brings it to the front. Only Bulldogs there. Hand pass found Sibonala from Slade. Sibonala bounces his way out of defence with nobody forward of the play for Centrals. He has to hold it up and does it well. Schooler drops in and takes the mark. His next kick, though, is blocked as well. Port Adelaide getting numbers behind the ball, and they're taking the players, and they've missed one. Elijah Ware, how did he find space? Stands out in the crowd with those white boots. They call him Noodles. Drops it across to Slade, had plenty of possession. Slade now swings it wide again. Fitzner in space, chased down by Brown. No pressure, though, in the end for Fitzner as he goes in with a kick up forward. Disappointing result for Central District. Finds space on the ground. Finally to the front, Cochrane. The ball taken away from him. Francis, he's got two free on the wing, has Francis. One of them is Davis, can go to Burns with a hand pass. Opts to go inside. Burns is to his left. Spot him, for God's sake, he does. But in too much space, Burns runs onto it. Burns now in the goal. Should be a goal. Here's a goal for Port Adelaide. And the supporters breathe a sigh of relief because Ronnie Burns was standing there saying, kick it to me, for about 5 minutes.
There's Chad Davis, just his vision, he turned back inside. You see him turn back inside, and then just out of the corner of his eye, he spots Ronnie Burns, and just his attack on the foot, he's able to break the tackle, and unorthodoxly dribbles it through for a goal. So the Magpies are right in this game. They're certainly matching the intensity of the Doggies. And the Doggies just seem to be coasting through at the moment. Some of their on-ballers need to pick their work rate up.
6 goals to left of screen. No breeze to speak of down there, Sodas.
No, Michael, it's pretty still down here, so I thought the breeze early on was favouring, well, the end Port Adelaide are going to now, but it's pretty even.
Port doing well. They've kicked the only 2 goals of this term. Hopwood gets it to Thomas. Thomas kicks it long, hoping for a mark. Cochrane in there. Fegans has been outstanding. Has got players on the outer side of the ground. One of them is Tony Brown. I tell you what, he just gets on his own so much, Tony Brown. Finds plenty of space to Di Pasquale. There's Burns having a rest in the box. Davis got through one tackle, held onto the football for a fortnight, but will not be penalised. 14.5 gone. Central's just by the 1 point.
And we saw Christian Di Pasquale try to turn back inside again. Look, it's wonderful, it works most times. You fall over, all of a sudden he's in all sorts of trouble.
Haven't called Bello too much. Kicks it long. Jake's at the back. Prokopek had a bit of a case for a hold. Ball squeezes out the back. Ware puts his head over the football. Taken by James Gowans to Chris Gowans. The telepathic brothers. Long kick by Gowans is through. Oh, they do it so well. Another goal to the Doggies. They're out by 7. The Gowans boys, you can't keep them out of the game for very long.
They've been disappointing today, just in their work rate around the packs, and good work by Nick Prokopek to keep this ball alive. And we just might see it in the screen. Good vision there by James Gowans to give inside to Chris. And Chris under pressure just shows all his class and his quality to turn that around the corner. So the Doggies have been challenged, and so far they've put up the right answer.
The Twins still with identical stats, 2 kicks, 4 handballs each.
All back in the middle. 7 points the margin. Port Adelaide, though, putting up a good deal of fight. Fitzgerald will have to surrender the ball for the secondary bounce in the centre square. Quite a tussle there. Breaking free Fitzgerald. Say that 3 times in a hurry. Down towards centre half forward. Port Adelaide just shuffles the ball forward. Fitzner taken out of it. Hand pass from Archie, finds Davis, pops it up in front of goal. Crash goes the pack, and Evans takes the mark.
He's on song today.
Just winning some 50-50 ball around the contest. Dane Fitzgerald's doing a very good job. Have identified on Paul Thomas. And Paul Evans just getting a thing. So we see Scholar come off and the change. Obviously, Cowans was a dedicated second ruckman. But Paul Evans just worked his player away from the footy. Nice clean grab. Should finish with a goal. All of a sudden, we're back to a 1-point game.
6 marks to Paul Evans.
6 marks at full forward, not a bad start. Midway through the second term of this match, Evans comes in, kicks his third of the afternoon, and the margin is back to 1 point.
As I said earlier, the Magpies are just starting to win a few 50-50 balls. A great tackle there by Fabian Francis. Corey Archie, ever the competitor, just gives on the way up like he should. And just see Paul Evans just work him underneath the footy and went back and kicked a nice goal. So the Magpies just hanging tough at the moment.
Good work by Evans. 3 goals straight to the big man. 6 marks, as Ian Mogridge just mentioned. And terrific job on Thomas by Fitzgerald, as Andrew alluded to. Cowan straight into the ruck. Ackland knocked it down. Plenty of tap-outs for him. Thomas can't break free. Fitzgerald's there, taken by Cowan. Just crashes the pack and tumbles one forward. O'Loughlin ridden into the ground by Krieg. Free kick to the number 33 for the Magpies. Matthew Krieg just needed to roll him across, couldn't quite do so. Momentum going forward. They spread to the outer side. Chad Davis has found plenty of space on the outer side wing. Takes the mark, this time uncontested. Drops it in short. Archie can't take the mark. Ball hits the deck. Well done, Bello. Graham tackled, had an opportunity, got rid of it. Taken by Davis, who got it to Archie. Archie in short. Evans couldn't take it. Over the back. There could be a goal coming up. Brown, was he ridden into the ground? Umpire said play on. In goes Evans. Ashley, high kick. 15 up, 15 down. Ball knocked through from behind. Frantic bit of play. Scores level.
Maggies are just working harder than the Doggies at the moment. You can see they have numbers working to the footy, playing a little bit smarter. Roy Laird will be disappointed in the work rate of his on-ballers.
Chad Davis has had 10 possessions in this quarter.
Central's though overrunning the ball in that situation. Ackland, the big man, good vision, got it in front of Brown. Brown will go to his left foot, inside 50, great kick, Evans. Brown, run down, his head pushed into the turf by Thomas, who's hurt himself. You see there to the right of screen, limping away is number 16 for Central District, struggling. That would be a big blow as Brown, speaking of blows, he comes off the ground, maybe just to have a rest. We'll get to sodas while we're waiting.
Yeah, Brownie looks like he's in pretty good nick. He's moving nicely, a little bit tired, I think, with age now, so he's having a break and King's back on.
Now all about that, sodas, tiredness, creaking bones and age. Evans lining up for his 4th of the afternoon. Starts it out to the right and brings it back, and Port Adelaide's in front by that margin of 1 goal, and he has 4th of the afternoon, Evans.
Is really causing a headache up forward for the Doggies, and just beautifully weighted kick here by Tony Brown. Just gave out some air. Paul Evans just worked his way to the front. See, they're just under pressure, just to hold his composure, to give it some air, just out in front of Paul Evans. And Paul is a deadly finisher. Has been a shining light up forward so far for the Maggies.
Port hit the lead by 6 points. They led right at the start of the game by a point. Taken by Ware. Hoping to spark the Bulldogs. Cochrane on a long lead. Funk corralling him to Steinburner. Looking for Slade in best position. Can't hook it in. In goes Krieg. Loses it to O'Loughlin. De Pasquale. Got it to Clayton. Stevens and Sibinala. Good contest. Sibinala sees it to the line. Boundary throw in. What a shift. There's the Central's bench. Swatala, Skula and Josh Coulter from left to right. Ackland goes to ground. Cowan went without it. It falls back to Ackland. James Gowans to Cowan. Plenty of aggression by Ashley. He wants that football. That is for sure. Umpire will just come in and say, give it to me.
Not very often you see Central Districts actually get molested, or whatever word you want to use, I suppose, inside. They're just not tough enough at the footy at the moment.
They go forward again, the Magpies. Umpires played a free kick over the shoulder. And the crowd like that. It's gone to young officer.
referees are 8-3 Port's way.
Well, that's probably why the noise from the Central's crowd as Hopwood takes it at half-back.
Considers his options, as you saw, they're just looking to his right. There's nothing there across the ground. Again, Port Adelaide has done well. They've manned up right around the ground, forced to go long. Cowan's at the front, ball thumped forward. Ashley was in good position, managed to get it to Davis. Davis looks up inside 50 with the kick, looking again for Evans. The bounce didn't help Evans, but it did help the Bulldogs. Here's Thomas. Thomas is in a bit of space. Again, nothing much up forward. He'll have to go to a contest, you'd think. Gets it back inside, does well to get it to Steinburner. And Thomas picks it up again on the rebound. Could go all the way. Instead opts to go for the pass. Shut down by Archie. He's gone into defence in this quarter, Archie. Port Adelaide rewarded with a bounce, 25 metres out from goal.
Evans did the chasing on Thomas. Thomas kept running. Evans stopped.
Yeah, you've got to have a defensive side to your game as a forward. Matthew Knights needs to point that out to Paul Thomas. Although you've kicked 4 goals, you still need to contribute on the going the other way.
Krieg shut down by O'Loughlin. He's in defence today, maybe to teach him something about minding a man. O'Loughlin again makes a tackle on Ware. Now it's loose. Clayton does well for Port Adelaide. Prepared to take the tackle, go to ground and get another 50-50 contest out of the way. Port Adelaide fans that are here, and they have been dwindling the numbers for the Magpies, but the fans that are here are very much appreciative of the performance so far. Parry is best placed to pick up this ball. Goes straight for the line in the end, taken over the line by Bello and ruled to be holding the ball according to the umpire. I think it was pretty clear Parry wanted to get over the line, and Marco Bello, one of the best tacklers in the SANFL, got him, held him, and now he creates an opportunity perhaps for a goal. No, Port Adelaide with perhaps an opportunity to clear their defensive area. No, and the Gowans boys are in there again and fighting hard. And look at that, a little bit of niggle. I ran into a Central supporter before the game. He said, go easy on the Gowans. Trouble is, they don't go easy on anybody, the Gowans.
We go for broke, Neil. Safety in numbers. Ball knocked down. Cochrane, Fitzgerald. Oh, thought he could have taken it through. There's a try. Picked off the ground by James Gowans. Goal umpire wants to signal that that's a behind, I believe. Or is it a goal? It's a behind. Just rushed through. Frantic bit of play. Let's have a look at it.
It's almost a try. Just all the accolades there to Jeremy Jakes. Hasn't panicked under pressure. Held the ball in when he's needed to hold it in.
Hopwood goes to ground. Umpire thought about it, heard the ooh from the crowd and decided that was high. So Central will get another opportunity. They'll try by 5 points. Bello in with the kick, looking for Shell. Shell makes distance to the ball. Well done, Daniel Shell. Was under pressure. De Pasquale, I think it was coming back at him. And just detect too, with the sun going down there, so does, we might get a bit of rain. Is that right?
Yeah, now it looks like there is a little bit of dark cloud coming across the ground, so I'm reaching for the umbrella. I think that we will get a little bit of rain in a moment.
Daniel Shell with his side trailing by 5 points. Kicks from 45 metres out. Starts it out right. Brings it back. Great kick, Daniel Shell. And Port Adelaide now trail by a point. With Shell kicking his second for the Bulldogs.
Just an impassive there, Roy Laird. Wouldn't be happy with what he's seen so far, but good play there by Marco Bello. Look, there was no space on this side to lead into, so he kicks it to the fat side where all the space is. Jeremy Jakes had just dropped off Daniel Shell. One of the very few times we've seen Daniel Shaw be able to get out on his own today. Finishes off with an important goal. The Doggies just seem to have increased their intensity in the last 5 minutes.
Dogs by a point. Lovely kick by Daniel Shell. Goal number 35 for the year for him. Siren, half-time, as James Gowans pumps it forward. Just 25 minutes and 49 seconds. There's Roy Laird. Not too much emotion from the coach of Central District. What an effort by Port Adelaide up to half-time. But it's the Doggies at half-time, 6-5-41. They lead Port Adelaide 6-4-40. Take us through the goal kickers in that term. In that half, Andrew Rogers.
And Paul Evans with 3 goals in that second quarter has been instrumental up forward to add to his 1 in the first quarter. He's now got 4 with Burns and Archie with 1 each. And for the Doggies, Shell with 2, Gowans, Cowan, Coulter and Ware all with 1 each.
And the stats, well, very much even Stevens when it comes to inside 50s. And look, it's been a good performance by the Magpies to really grip on to the Bulldogs.
So I'd really like to see a tackling stat up there. The tackling intensity around the footy's been super. They really have provided a really good opposition to the Doggies today.
Yeah, and you mentioned that tackling. Have a look at these highlights of incidents throughout the first half where the Dogs just thought they were a little bit clear and Port Adelaide putting the pressure on them. And there is a classic here after we get past Quentin Graham being taken to ground again and again. But there is a classic where a hand pass comes out from a Centrals player. They expect that they're free, and in comes another tackle, and this is it. Sivanala turns around, and no sooner turns around than McDowell's got him. So it's been really classic stuff from Port Adelaide. Pretty much this is the history of the way Port plays.
Well, they've wound the clock back today to the late and early 90s, haven't they? They tackled superbly in those years. Gives them the opportunity to be competitive in games.
And so does, I guess, maybe a bit of rain in the second half is going to make it even tougher for the Doggies.
Yeah, Neil, there is a lot of dark cloud coming over the top, so we may see some rain during that second term. The Doggies are struggling, aren't they? Port Adelaide's work rate has been sensational. They really fancy themselves, the Magpies, when they are at Elizabeth Oval. I think won 3 of their past 5 games, so they certainly have the best record here outside any other club in the SANFL.
Difficult to make a tip at this stage, but I'm going to ask you for one.
Well, Paul, I think I like Neil, isn't it?
You're going well.
You've confused me, Neil. I like Central Districts. I think Port Adelaide have been very tenacious. Central Districts have a little bit more quality, so I'm going for them.
Right, on that note, sodas. We'll go to Michael, who will call the second half.
Ah, dear. I know who I am. Good on you, Mark. It's all working beautifully down there at boundary side with Mark Soderstrom. Second half underway at Elizabeth. Central District lead by 1 point. Ackland crashes into Schooler. Schooler just gets a paddle. Burns goes in hard. We'll have umpire Fife across the arms and say, give it to me. Another ball up. Port Adelaide, terrific in that first half. Can they go all the way? Taken out of the middle. Good mark. Lovely mark by Officer, one of the young players that the Dogs are breeding down here. The Kennels. Mark taken by Graham. Swings onto the left boot and kicks it to centre half forward. Pack develops. Ware, blistering pace. Can't get all the way through. He is electrifying. Elijah Ware when he gets his anywhere near the football. In goes Clayton. He's tackled by Cowan. Another ball up.
Just quickly, scores from other grounds in the SANFL, they're all close. North Adelaide by 1 point over Glenelg at Prospect, and at Richmond, West Adelaide trailing by 6 points to South Adelaide.
Thanks for that, Neil. Slipped out the back to Gowans on the left boot. James has just missed to the near side. The Dogs lead the contest by 2 points.
Haven't really seen too much of the Gowans twins today. A number of other players, Central District players, really haven't too much of the footy. You can see there, just would expect him normally to finish at such as your clinical finishing. It's been a disappointing day. Just question their work rate, though, really. Maybe they put the bat away and worried about next week against the Eagles.
Gowan's boys over the past 3 weeks have averaged 10 or 11 kicks and about 9 hand passes each. So they haven't been in the greatest of forms as Di Pasquale tried to break a tackle. Umpire called play on initially, and now he's penalised. And it'll be a free kick coming to Slade. You wonder why it wasn't paid initially. Slade inside 50 with the kick. Shell was the man he originally went at. Gowans chipped in. Now Shell gets an opportunity. Ball still in dispute. And Port Adelaide again able to close the ball down inside defensive 50.
Their defenders have done that particularly well all day. If they get tackled and they haven't had a prior opportunity, look, hold the ball in. We'll push our numbers around the contest. Very hard for the Central District's forwards to score.
Cowan trying to slip out a hand pass, again under pressure. Finally, O'Loughlin looked for a player to give it to. He looked up and he didn't see much, so in the end he gave a loose hand pass to Davis. Ball in dispute again, just near the edge of the centre square, slightly towards Central District's end of the ground, and we'll get another bounce down.
Just the biggest numbers in the first half for the Doggies. Matthew Slade had 16, Ben Fitzner 15, 12 each to Nathan Steinburner and Heath Hopwood. And for the Magpies, Chad Davis had 15, including 11 in the second quarter. Ricky O'Loughlin 11 and Tony Brown 10.
As Davis was really not shut down in that second term. Hopwood thumps it forward. O'Loughlin read it best for Port Adelaide. Under pressure though, just lost the handle on the ball. Jakes, quick kick out of there. Mann couldn't take control, follows up. Gowan's taken off the ball, play on, calls the umpire. Still nobody able to get a clean possession. Still they fight over it. It's like a mini league scrum. They're all in there. And we get another bounce down, and I think the ball progressed 5 metres one way, then 5 metres the next, and now we're basically back to where the last ball up was. There it goes. Still no clean possession. Somehow it got to a Port Adelaide player, and they sling some hand passes together to free up Brown. Inside 50 with a kick. Evans gets to the front. Sibanala knocks it away. Ball on the ground. Still in dispute. Coming in Fitzgerald. Hand pass to Stevens. Stevens, Ware in trouble. Gee whiz, there's no room out there. Finally some created, and Thomas finds some room, and still not a clean possession. They're hard to come by. Mann inside 50 with the kick. Archie at the front of the pack. Now Ware, and now they'll break to this side of the ground. Centrals with some loose players.
Elijah Ware's kick to Hopwood, held up beautifully. Good tackle, in goes Burns. Schooler, great work by Ackland back there for Port Adelaide. Sibanala working hard at half-back. Just does a donut round in circles, and an ordinary handball to Slade. Archie cleans him up. In goes Graham. Port Adelaide with the intensity. Graham's kick. Backing back, Coulter couldn't take the mark. Ware, he's crunched by Elstone. In comes a lumbering Schooler. He's held, taken to the ground by Mann. Good enough to bounce back. Got it to Graham. Boy, the stakes have risen in this second half. In goes Fitzgerald. They dive on the football. And we'll have the ball up for a bounce. The intensity is right there. It's all on the line, Andrew.
They've got a sniff, haven't they, the Port Adelaide? You can see the way they're attacking the footy, attacking the man. You can see there Elijah Ware's the recipient of that heavy shirt front. But they really have had, they're attacking the ball with the body.
Burns has been penalised. Apparently Port Adelaide in the rooms at half-time were as pumped as you can get for a football side. And it's showing out here in the middle. Slade's loose handball, but Thomas runs onto it. Wants to get onto his right boot. Heavy Shepherd. Long kick to the square. Shell couldn't take the mark. Fegan round the corner. Cowan. Lovely goal by Luke Cowan. As the Dogs, against the tide, get a goal on the board, the first of the second half.
It certainly was, and just a really good kick by Paul Thomas to a really dangerous position. And just a slight fumble there by Nigel Feig. It fell in the arms of Luke Cowans, and he finishes off with a goal. So Port Adelaide have worked really hard in this initial 5.5, 6 minutes without any result on the scoreboard. Such is the efficiency as Centrals go forward, and their numerous targets up forward. They get the all-important first goal after half-time.
High over the top, Schooler to Slade. And scramble the ball forward. Ware recovered from that heavier knock. Switala out to Chris Gowans. From 40 metres, Chris Gowans drives. Minor score. Well, an opportunity there, wasted. Margin 9 points now.
Dogs just looking to stamp their authority on this game, win that all-important centre break. And good hands there by Adam Switala. Just give it a nice bit of loop. Gowans is able to make his own pace into the footy. We'd expect him to normally finish that.
There's Ben Fitzner, who really was the wild card in the first half with 15 possessions. Ricky O'Loughlin, short kick and finds Fegan in front of Slade. Short dinky kick over the top, set up deep. Pasquale, ball knocked away. Fitzgerald just scrubs it down the line, looking for Clayton. That is good football by Clayton. He went to ground though. Krieg taken to ground by Elstone. No free kick. Elstone got it again. He's a ball magnet. Elstone, he's kicked down the line's a good one to Stevens. Magpies building. What's he got inside 50? Evans. That's a horrible kick to the top of his head. Knocked away by Ofterhide. In goes Davis, who seems to be on his game today. Ball rolls out. Kane Officer, the number 20, takes it out. There's Chad Davis, who really has looked pretty good as Peter Mann comes off the ground. So does who's replaced him.
Yeah, Matthew King onto the wing to replace him.
And that would be in response to the bright start that Elijah Ware in this second half.
Too many can go with Elijah Ware pace-wise. Graham doing the ruck work with Archie, two non-ruckmen. Spills out to Officer. How sure can he be? Great tackle. Bello takes it out of bounds. Lovely tackle by Dane Fitzgerald.
You can see once again, Port Adelaide's tackling has been the feature of it today. Just closing the Central District players down. They haven't got time to use their high skill level.
Another contest inside 50. Ackland shoved out of it. Graham got it to Schooler. They run it out of half-back with Thomas, who does it so well. He kicks out into plenty of space, hoping for the line. Parry in front of Shell, got it to Di Pasquale. Twatala's got him, takes him to ground. Steinburner just gets past Parry and Di Pasquale and gets it to Thomas. Thomas kicks it long. O'Loughlin, Slade flies! One grab, two, no mark. Ball hits the ground. O'Loughlin, James Gowans, Slade can't get through. Funk is wrapped up, taken to ground, and we'll have a ball up. 49 plays 40 in favour of the Dogs. It's lifted up a cog or two, Andrew.
So look, as Matty Slade gets up on there, look, it's been the feature of his game today. He's marking overhead. And just against the taller Ricky O'Loughlin, just unable to bring himself underneath the footy.
Well, mistakes under pressure again from Centrals, and then high tackle by Fegan. And Gowans will have a crack at goal from not too difficult an angle, you would think. James Gowans, thanks for turning around. Takes a little while sometimes with these twins, James and Chris. Tony Brown offering some advice there, I notice. And that's what's ahead of him in terms of the goal square. Distance shouldn't be a problem from here, and a chance to stretch that margin to 15 points. Starts it out right, comes back, hits the post.
Really have struggled for most of the day, the Gowans twins. If you look at that free kick, geez, it's very marginal. That is a free kick.
Well, I think what you mean is it wasn't there.
An umpire's friend, it was marginal, Neil.
It didn't do you any good in the vote, so don't worry about it.
Still waiting for it.
Harry takes a lovely mark to O'Loughlin, who looks for Ackland at half-back in front of Schooler. Ackland goes down the line to Stevens. Sipanala's there. Fitzgerald overran the football. Krieg mops it up at the back to another good mop man in Thomas, who dashes away, wants to square it up. That's a dangerous kick, but it's a good one. Finds Ware. They spread to the outer side. Maybe will they go up the corridor? They go up the corridor to Officer. They normally switch play, looking for someone who's broken down there in Hopwood. Hopwood's got the mark. He'll swing it down looking for Shell. His kick sets up Shell in front. Parry gave him a nudge. Ball hits the deck. Parry did well. In goes Fegan. Fegan tries to get through the Gowans tackle, taken by Davis, who ran into his own man. Loose handball. In fact, it was a good one. Goes to Funk. Funk out of half-back. While decision-making time. It goes to O'Loughlin. Quick with hands. Back to Funk. Port are out of danger. Maybe only momentarily. Di Pasquale's got to go, but also Fitzgerald. He takes the mark. Gets it to King. King's got Stevens. He decides to go to Evans. He's dealt with after he's kicked the ball, and Evans took the mark right on 50. Didn't matter. Kick was paid downfield. Evans on the edge of his distance went to kick and slipped over. Now he composes himself.
Double bonus there for Port Adelaide. Big Shepherd coming in from Francis, knocked out Elijah Ware, has done something to his ankle, I think.
Long kick by Evans. He's kicked 4. Did it carry the journey? I think it has. He might have 5. He's kicked a goal. Port Adelaide strike back.
Certainly, and they needed to, for all their endeavour and all their tackling. We've been highlighting their tackling. All of a sudden, they've needed to get a goal as reward, and we see Funk, who works its way out with just taking a risk. And Ricky O'Loughlin, who's been involved early in this third quarter, gets it on, and just a lucky mark. Just bring it back inside. Just not sure about that. Finally, King carries the ball down the wing, and eventually it falls to Paul Evans, who creating a contest for the full day, and went back and finished with his 5th goal.
Elstone taken to ground just as he was about to get his kick out of the centre, and will get a ball up. Tim Pfeiffer, the umpire, officiating. Gowans just criticising that decision. As I said, Francis coming in on Swatala and Ware and taking them out in the course of that last goal with a big Shepherd. Ball just kicked forward. Good work by Archie. Could have got a free kick. Umpire said no, play on. And now the ball's in dispute at centre-half forward for Port Adelaide. Corey Archie, rightly, I think, turned around and said, what have you got to do?
He's brave in the air, and he just get an honest jump from him every time.
That's why he's at centre-half forward. He's most recently in the state side, he was at full-back. Indeed, most recently at Port Adelaide, he's been a full-back until this season. Matthew Knights has thrown him forward. looking for exactly that, Andrew, a contest at centre-half forward. Ackland got a contest now. Here's Brown swooping on the ball, claimed to be still held, perhaps had a case. Officer slipped the hand pass out the back and they work it wide to Sivanela. Sivanela in space is Chris Gowans ahead of the play. Now Gowans looks up on the lead. Coulter coming. Nice mark by Coulter, sliding in. He's a left footer. He can go inboard to Slade. Under pressure from O'Loughlin. Slips the hand pass forward. James Gowans from 40 metres. James Gowans can't make the distance. Parry intercepts it. Now you'd think Port Adelaide had come down this side of the ground. This is 2-on-1. De Pasquale needs to get possession. He does. Funk runs for him. Funk's in trouble. Bain goes. Slade misses him. Now they share it. O'Loughlin. He has a player wide, very wide, just inside the boundary line. Stevens. Chip over the top. Ashley backs up. Takes his time. Francis has made the big lead. He goes towards Francis. Coming across the front, Graham. Well done by Archie. King roved it. 3-on-1. King tackled. Wasn't going anywhere, but it's on the edge of that 50 again for Port Adelaide.
Umpire put the whistle to the mouth too for the Quinton Graham mark. Didn't pay it. Over the shoulder in the ruck contest. It'll go to number 26 for the Bulldogs. Luke Cowan against Kane Ackland. Plenty happening in this match. The Dogs lead by 4 points. Cowan kicks. De Pasquale, that's courage. Just held his ground in the gap as the runner goes over. Big pack develops. What a match we've got here at Elizabeth. And De Pasquale is still rubbing his shoulders in the back of his head. That is guts.
We talk about Corey Archie with bravery in the air and just jumping at it. That is with a capital C. Christian De Pasquale backing back into Nick Prokopek, who's all of 100 kilos. Tremendous courage.
Good work by Francis, a little bit too quick for Davis Bello. Got it to Thomas, just rolls one down the wing at the back. It had a little bit too much spin on it and went out of bounds. Boundary throw in. There he is, Crutch. A lot of courage. Christian De Pasquale. Crowd getting behind the Dogs, making plenty of noise at Elizabeth. Krieg uses Slade. Oh, lovely tackle by Francis, not rewarded. Krieg again, nowhere to go, ran out of real estate. Gang tackled, taken by Davis, who's playing an outstanding game. Handball wasn't so good to Brown. Brown's got to go, along with Officer. Had their eyes on the ball. Francis got it to Stevens. Mown down by Sivanala. Umpire caught play on. I thought he dropped it like a hot scone, Andrew.
Could have that opportunity to get Michael, but that's just a lack of awareness there by Scott Stevens. He should have realised he didn't have that amount of space. It's a good tackle. Just want to see him have prior opportunity, Michael.
You make an excellent umpire's coach, Andrew Rogers. Ball out of bounds. What a game. We came here today thinking Central's by how much. Port Adelaide have put it all on the line this afternoon. Taken by Davis, took it out of the ruck. Wobbly old ball. Which way will it bounce? Bounces kindly in the end for off the hide. Boundary throw in. We've ticked into 16 minutes. And it is the Dogs by 4.
Kane Ackland's rucked the entire day. Just going to want to see him have a bit of a break. Maybe they can bring Parry onto the footy, transfer him around, maybe give Ackland just a bit of a rest up forward.
Boys, a blood rule here with Christian De Pasquale. Has a cut to his head. The umpire's finally decided there is some blood, so he's come off the ground.
No doubt from that heavy marking collision, I would have thought. He was shaking his head after that.
A headache tablet, I reckon, as well.
So, play to resume. Ball in the Port Adelaide forward pocket. Davis gets to the front, takes it off the pack almost. Oh, he just couldn't get possession, and finally it's rushed through. Davis, well, he threatened to take the ball off the pack and go straight to goal and just lost possession.
Just needed to be cleaned in there. Just see the ball bobbling around in there. Just waiting for a soccer off the ground, and cleverly Quinton Graham just cleaned it up.
Kick finds Officer. Man has broken into plenty of space on the wing. It's Ware. Now he can run and bounce. Elijah, he's had one bounce. Francis put the pressure on. Wobbly old kick by Ware, but it's lucky it's marked by Krieg. Krieg, a couple of kicks out from goal. Decides to go in short, honouring the lead of Shell. A bit too much pace for the lumbering Parry. And that's where they need to use Daniel Shell on the lead.
Just a great transference of play, had plenty of space up forward. You can see here just a beautifully weighted kick forward by Matthew Krieg, and Shell just able to gain that front spot. Not too much Craig Barry could do about that.
A goal in the first and second quarter for the former Adelaide Crow spearhead. Shell from 45 sits it up and drills it through for goal number 3. And the Bulldogs pull away to a 9-point lead.
They just seem to have all the answers. As I said, we've really much highlighted how good the Magpies' pressure has been today. But it was a wonderful transference of play from a kick out. Elijah Ware had plenty of space on the outer side. Matthew Krieg, importantly, just playing in front. Just chips the ball out in front. A nice bit of air in front of Daniel Shell. As I said, not too much Craig Parry could do about that. And they get full value for moving the ball quickly when there's space in their forward line. Good shot there of umpire Camp.
Central's led by 19 points at the 24-minute mark of the opening term. It was back to a point at half-time. Now they're out by 9. And again threatening, although Port Adelaide have shown some doggedness in this game this afternoon. And again they go forward. That looked like a throw out of the pack. Still a ball in dispute. Steinberner says, give it to me, away I'll go. Now to Ware. Ware on the wing, down towards half forward. Prokopek the target. Prokopek with 2 touches. Now Bello gave it up. Fegan and Jakes. Dangerous hand pass, really set up Matthew Ashley. Taken the ground. It wasn't Matthew Ashley, it was King. It was taken to ground. Now the umpire spotting a free kick and says it will go to Central District and Prokopek will be the recipient. And Prokopek now. Shell coming on the lead. That's the way he goes. Port Adelaide with numbers there. Jakes was one of them, dropped the ball. Now Central's with numbers. Coulter kicked the ball out of his own hands. Couldn't take possession. As a result, we'll get a bounce down 25 metres out from the Central's attacking goal.
Spent it before he got it, didn't he? All he had to do was pick it up and be clean. Just spent it.
Parry to Jakes. Out of defence, loose with a kick. Kane Ackland shepherded it out. Thomas, hand pass to Prokopek, takes his time, picks out Hopwood, gets rid of his man, looks for a hand pass, didn't know what to do. In the end, the 1-2, and Hopwood has a shot from 25 metres and just the way to the left. And got split down the middle after he kicked it too. A little bit of a bump.
You can just see there's a bit of hesitancy about the Central Districts, which is unusual for them. Just a forward handball to Cochrane, who's facing away from goal. Rather see Heath Hopwood run forward straight and drill the goal.
10 points the difference. All in dispute. Port Adelaide's half-back line man just takes a dive. Back in, hooked it back in. Surely that's holding the ball, umpire. Good decision, he hooked it back in. They don't pay too many of them, but that was pretty blatant. Taken by Bello. There it is again. Bello's kick up forward. No one can take the mark for Centrals. Jakes, who hasn't been too bad, has got to dish it off. Coulter in hard. Big pack developing. Umpire will come in. O'Loughlin spins out of the back. Had a man in short, decided to go down the line. Bad option. Bello couldn't take it. His teammate, O'Loughlin's teammate in Fitzgerald, had to lend some assistance. Steinberner surely held the football and dropped it. Advantage rule paid. Went to Davis, who spotted up McDowell. Another goal here for the Magpies will make it interesting. They muck it up on the wing. Taken by Graham. Cool, steady hand. Thomas. He loves to run with the football. What's he got in front of him? Prokopek gives him something. Funk has got to do something. Knocks it away from Prokopek. Umpire said play on. Clayton crushed to the ground by Ware. He's only a little man, but he met him physically there, Elijah Ware, and forced the ball up.
You can see just under pressure the Magpies will cough it up. They've put a lot of energy into this quarter. Haven't got any result on the board. They just need to clean it up under pressure.
A double change for Central District as they look to get some more fresh legs on Chris Gowans and also Fitzner coming on for James Gowans and Swatala.
Thank you, Mark. Any noise at Elizabeth Oval. Schooler knocked it down, roved his own ball, tried to get it to Coulter. Coulter's handball over the top, set up Slade. Slade will kick it inside 50. Where's Shell? Here he is. Which way will it bounce? It bounces well. Looping handball over the top to Bello. And Marco drills it home. Lovely play by the spearhead, Daniel Shell, who's kicked 3 and just gave one away to Marco Bello.
It's an important time, deep in time, where you can see Slade come forward. Importantly here, Ricky O'Loughlin goes to Daniel Shell and leaves his player free. You only need one honest tackler to go at him. I reckon Craig Parry had him wrapped up there. Ricky O'Loughlin not only goes to him, but also falls down. Marco Bello, not probably one of his better days today, but you give him an opportunity, you get him a sniff, he kicks in the goal, and Central Districts just eke out a nice margin here.
7 and 6 for Marco Bello today.
16 points. Roy Laird, believe it or not, I think he's probably a little bit more satisfied than he was in the first half. Slade, quick 1-2, got it going forward. Chris Gowans, sorry, James is sitting on the bench at the moment. Chris replaced him, and he's now out on the ground. James is off for a wander, obviously. He's not sitting on the bench at the moment, by the looks of that.
Yeah, he's actually lying on the ground getting some treatment from the physio just to his back. Got a heavy knock on the hip in that third term, and he's just getting some treatment to hopefully get him back in that last quarter.
Feagit for Port Adelaide goes wide for Stevens. Dropped what he probably should have taken. Now he's got control. Dropped it again. Gave it to King. Put him under pressure. Feagit quickly just down centre wing. Here's one for Courage. Fitzgerald out of the pack. Davis, that was lucky. McDowell. McDowell's a good disposer of the ball. This time no exception. Up long looking for Evans. 2 hands in the back. Umpire says free kick.
The 3-umpire system got him.
Well, there wasn't really any doubt. I guess we could see it from here, but you never know. Punt was taken. Here's Officer. Drives down long. That wasn't to Coulter's advantage. Prokopek comes from the back, knocks it forward. Jakes follows up for Port Adelaide. The 1-2 worked. Jakes now wide to Funk from half-back. Nobody in the goal square. He has to pull up. No real targets to kick to except McDowell. That's got to be perfect. It isn't quite. Archie did well. Around the corner on the left foot. Corey Archie, what a goal. Oh, they're not done yet, Port Adelaide.
And that would make Matthew Knights very happy. Just a late goal late in the quarter. It just gives them some momentum going into three-quarter time. Just ever a left footer turns back inside all the time and just showing some tendencies to play forward there more often is Corey Archie. Turns it around the corner. Great vision there from goal umpire Cam. And the Magpies, they just persisting. They refuse to go away.
Andrew, Jeremy Jakes just got a kick in there. Fortunate because he started to cramp up in his calf pretty seriously. He's just come off the ground now, being replaced by Elston.
Back to 10 points, Corey Archie with goal number 2. Ackland out of the centre. Roved his own ball. Schooler with a hand on it. Francis out the back to Ashley, who kicked a high ball. Thomas running hard. Awkward bounce. It was always going to. Fitzgerald, who's worn him like a glove. Chopped off by Fitzner to Officer. Delayed the handball beautifully to Bello. Dogs are away. Slade beautifully back to Bello. He may go all the way, Marco. He kicked the goal a moment ago. He may have another one. Oh, he loves kicking a goal, does Marco Bello. And wasn't that a magnificent running goal? The Doggies out to 16 points. What a kick. What a bit of play by the running Bulldogs machine.
Marco Bello, I thought had been quiet early, suddenly lifted his work rate and well carried with a kick. Didn't need to kick it straight away. And a wonderfully held handball there by Matthew Slade. He just carried it with leg speed, eventually get it through and gets a wonderful shepherd in the goal square from Daniel Shell, just enable Mark Clayton to get through. You can see Marco Bello's really pumped about that. And just that late goal just equals out that goal from Port Adelaide just previously.
I thought they had a case for saying that shepherd was actually a shepherd in a marking contest, maybe in the goal square. I thought he had a chance to mark that, Clayton, in which case is that a free kick?
It's very much open to the umpire's interpretation. I've never really understood the rule myself. Neil?
Don't know. I think a couple of Port Adelaide players questioned it. Put it that way. Ball back in the middle. Goal stands, no doubt about that. Bello couldn't get the kick. Ashley in with a second tackle now. Hopwood, somehow that was shoveled forward, and I do mean shoveled. Finally, three-quarter time. And a late goal for Centrals has just steadied the ship. And at three-quarter time, 16 points the margin in favour of the home side, the Bulldogs.
Yes, and the Doggies just seem to have all the answers, don't they? Port Adelaide worked really hard in that corner. They tackled, they harassed, they used the ball well as they went forward, and unfortunately just turned the ball over a few times. And unfortunately, as you get a look at Marco Bello, he's pumped. You can see the pressure in the game. Marco Bello realised that was an important goal. But everything the doggies everything the Magpies seem to throw at the doggies, they seem to have the answers at present. And just some inspirational acts of brilliance from Marco Bello and a couple of others really see them eke out this nice 16-point margin at three-quarter time.
Yes, it's very handy as we just look through those quarters, and Port Adelaide has been on the back foot, I guess, early on, and since then they've come back well though, and every time Centrals has looked to get away.
Well, Matthew Knights would be really happy with the way they've persisted today and they've kept at him. Just got to really just wonder where these goals are going to come from. As you see the goal kickers, Evans has been really good up forward with 5 and Archie with 2, and we saw that great snap in that quarter. Shell with 3, Bello 2 in that quarter, Cowan with 2, Gowan's, Calder and Ware with just 1 each.
And the stats, as we look at those, well, Port Adelaide surprisingly behind in virtually every department, but I would have thought that in tackles they're right up there and in pressure.
Yeah, as I said, their intensity, but generally their handballs have been under pressure and missed targets. You can see now Central Districts are now starting to get reward, getting more of the footy and more inside 50s.
Yes, and well, at three-quarter time, it's time to talk to a player who is on the sidelines for Port Adelaide, Tony Bamford. And it seems, Tony, you spend a lot of time on the sideline, unfortunately.
Yeah, more time than I would have liked, but you know, that's footy, and I've just got to get on with it. I'm just probably about 3 weeks away from playing again, but you know, I'm just really looking forward to get out on the ground and get a full training session in, and then hopefully get a game towards the end of the year.
Tony, just run us through it. You've got a hamstring at the moment that's kept you out, and hamstrings have been a problem in the past, but you've also had knees, thumbs, shoulders, just about everything. Is that right?
Yeah, well, it all started back in '97 when I did the knee, and it's just been downhill from there. But this year, I tore my pec muscle at the start of the year, and it was a bit of an unusual one because I've never done an upper body muscle before. Most of my injuries have been hamstrings and calves and drivers, etc. But yeah, I did the pec at the start of the year, and then it's been about a 12 or 13 week injury, and I was training really well the week of our bye, and I was going to play after the bye, and I did a hamstring at training midweek, so now I'll be out for another probably 3 weeks with the hamstring.
And Tony, so many injuries. What continues to drive? You know, premiership in '99. What does Tony Bamford want to achieve out of the game?
Oh, look, I just want to stay involved as long as I can. Football is pretty much my life. I also work in football, work for the SANFL. Look, while I'm in South Australia with Port Adelaide Magpies, I want to be involved in any way I can. And I love playing the game. I love playing for this club. I love putting the Guernsey on and playing amongst all these blokes out here today. And as you said, the premierships are a massive drive. I've been lucky enough to play in 3 out of 3 so far. But you know, I want more than that, and that's just a standard way of thinking down here down at Alberton, I suppose.
Well, it is, I guess, Tony, the standard way of thinking of at Alberton. You've come from a background in Queensland, so run us through how you came to be at Alberton.
Yeah, it all happened very, very quickly, to tell the truth. Halfway through 1996, I was being coached by Wayne Johnston, the former Carlton champion, and I was playing pretty well. I had been playing pretty well up there for a couple of years. And Martin Leslie actually said to Wayne Johnston, "Look, does this kid want to have a crack at the SANFL?" And Jono asked me, and I said, "Yeah, sure do, especially Port Adelaide." So Bob Clayton, who was a football manager at the time, flew me down. I played 4 games in the reserves as a trial. Steve Williams came up to me and goes, "Look, I'm really keen for you to come back down and play full time." So went home, packed my bag, and I've been here ever since.
Yes, the rest is history, as they say. Yes, people forget there's so much football being played in Queensland even now. But look, we'll go across to Sodas, and Sodas, you've been listening to what's been going on in the Port Adelaide camp. What have you heard?
Yeah, Neil, the Magpies are very, very pumped up. They've had a great effort today. Their work rate again in that quarter has been sensational, and Matthew Knights has just reiterated to them to keep that work rate up. Paul Thomas has been terrific for the Bulldogs, and Matthew Ashley was the boy with that job. Matthew Knights putting it on to Ashley, saying, really, you need to stop this guy running off half-back and setting up a lot of their plays. Tony, one thing we have noticed with Port Adelaide, every time they do come to Elizabeth, even when they have been struggling, you really back yourselves to knock off the doggies here.
Well, that's right. I mean, when Port Adelaide play, we like to play the best, and at the moment, Central Districts are the best. And they're the measuring stick along with the Eagles. So, you know, the same thing last year when we came out here, I think it was around 21 last year. It was a similar day, but it was a bit wet, a bit more wet last year, But, you know, we were up against the wall last year, having to make the final, trying to get into that 5th spot, or to the 4th spot in the finals. But we played Central's a similar type of game as what it is today, not very high scoring. but and we come out on top. So, you know, I don't reckon we can afford to have a shootout with Central with this last quarter. We really need to shut them down, especially through the midfield. And if we can keep it to 1 or 2 goals, hopefully we kick a few more than what they do.
Well, Tony, best of luck with the comeback. We hope that everything goes well for you in the future and you can get over the injury spike that you seem to have got in your career.
Yeah, no, I'll keep soldiering on, and hopefully, like I said, hopefully I get a few games in towards the end of the year and the boys win a few games and we get in the finals.
OK, Tony Bamford there from Port Adelaide. Thanks for joining us. As we look forward to next week, very quickly, the Eagles coming off a bye and, of course, having won 10 in a row, will host Central District. That's our match next Saturday afternoon. Port Adelaide against West, North against Norwood and Sturt against South of the other games as we get underway with the last quarter here at Elizabeth.
Thanks, Neil. 16 points the difference in favour of the Bulldogs. 12 of the 18 goals kicked today have been kicked to left of screen, for which Port Adelaide will attack in this last term. Underway, big crowd at Elizabeth. Schooler knocked it down. Centre clearance important. Who can take it? Bello in is Di Pasquale. You'll find him at the bottom of just about every pack when the ball's in his vicinity. Another bounce by the umpire. Will he ball it up? Throw it up. Fitzgerald liked his game today. Officer and McDowell. McDowell got it down. Second effort was good. Locked up. Just in between centre and half forward. Just in the attacking zone of the Magpies. Ackland and Schooler nullify each other really. Slapped on the boot by Ashley. Hopwood doesn't want to kick the footy this afternoon. Like to just give it off. Poor handball. McDowell dives in. Good tackle. Ashley follows up again. Dishes off. Davis, who's been damaging. The kick towards Evans. Knows his opponent out. Man worked to the line by Ware. Thomas happy to run it through. 4-1 behind. Port Adelaide on the board in the final term.
They just need to make the most of their opportunities here early, especially the Maggies. Just see Craig Parry again minding Daniel Schiller fullback. Look, probably think he could be you. Push forward, maybe provide a marking target.
Hopwood quickly. Slade, been good overhead today. Shut down then. Ball came out to Bello. Bello's in a lot of space. A lot of space indeed, and they back off him. O'Loughlin finally comes to him. Bello goes long to the goal square where Prokopek is waiting strong. Ball comes to the front. Krieg with a hand pass. They share it. James Gowans already into trouble. Could be pinched. Holding the ball, says the umpire. Holding the ball, says the crowd. And everybody's in agreement except that man there, James Gowans.
Geez, they worked hard forward then. Marco Bello has been important with just his leg speed as he's carried the footy. And they just worked hard front and centre, and just Gowans just unable to finish off.
Carry to O'Loughlin and then in turn Stevens. And half-back Stevens looks up and goes towards McDowell over his head. Didn't help him out at all. Officer looks up. Nothing much on offer. Again, Port Adelaide, they've done this very well this afternoon. They've shut down the Dogs' quick movement forward. The Officer takes his time and he'll go inboard to Slade, who's made room. Slade knows he wants to play on in a hurry. Does it successfully. Around Funk like he wasn't there. Inside 50, beautiful kick. Shell comes on the lead and turns around and says, where's the mark, sir?
It's almost like a training. Good work by Kane Officer to look back inside. And Matty Slade just solved the dummy to Ross Funky beautifully. You can see there Ross Funky losing his feet. And a beautifully weighted kick down the centre corridor where all the space was. So very much a training drill. Roy Laird would be very happy with that ball movement.
So here's Shell. Lining up for his fourth of the afternoon. Kicks truly. And the margin out to 21 points in favour of the Doggies.
Just starting to stamp their class over this contest. We saw it late in the third quarter. And that man on screen there, Matty Slade, along with Marco Bello, has suddenly broke this game open with their leg speed. They've been able to carry the footy, break over the lines where the Magpies have pushed back. Daniel Shell's a recipient there of a great Matthew Slade pass.
Matthew Slade, 15 kicks, 10 handballs today.
Just quickly, scores from other grounds. Glenelg 10-5-65, leading North Adelaide 8-9-57, and South Adelaide 13-12-90, winning the battle for fifth place over West Adelaide 12-2-74.
Largest margin so far, biggest lead in the game. It's to Central's. Steinburner kicks it long, looking for Shell over the back. Ball knocked away. Fitzner went without it. Elstone, who's gone out of the game. Not a real good third term by Daniel Elstone. And a ball up.
Just 3 and 5 for Elstone today.
There's Daniel Shell hobbling. They need to get a bit more out of their midfield. The Maggies down by 21. Schooler knocks it down. James Gowans threw it on the boot. Anyway forward. Bello quick hands to Chris Gowans. He just paddles it away to James. He hooks around the body and misses. They are looking very, very dangerous at the moment. Once they get their noses in front, Andrew, they are hard to toss.
They've just upped the ante at the moment. Port Adelaide unable to go with it. I know Tony Bamford spoke at three-quarter time about shutting them down. If you're going to win the game, they need 4 goals to win the game. Might be a time to release the tags, try to get some run through the midfield.
Kicking long from Funk. Stevens at the back. Got rid of the whole pack except for that man in Ackland. Ackland looks up. Nothing much on offer. We'll go with the hand pass to Fegit. Down the line, he's got one short. That's where he tries to go. Officer from behind came hard and knocked the ball away from Fitzgerald, who was paid the mark. Did well, stood under the pack. Fitzgerald now goes up in search of Evans, who comes on the lead at centre-half forward. Over the back it runs. Burns couldn't take it. Now he does. Hand pass from Burns, just loose into space. Hopwood pushed it away from one, somehow got away from 2. Now into space, and there's a lot of it on the far side for Krieg to work with. Krieg with a couple of bounces, looks up towards half forward, goes in short with a pass. No, he doesn't. Goes in long with a kick instead. Perhaps the wrong choice. They did have a couple across half forward. Funk with the loose hand pass. It'll come to Steinberner, and Steinberner will run into an open goal and shut the gate. Good night. That's the end of Port Adelaide. Centrals have got this one won.
Yes, I tend to agree with you, Neil. All of a sudden, the Central District's leg speed has really hurt Port Adelaide through the midfield. We've seen Marco Bello, we've seen Matty Slade, and now we see Nathan Steinberner actually burn the Port Adelaide players off. And just a poor decision there by Ross Funky to turn back into traffic. Opens the door for Central Districts. All of a sudden they're away. Could get ugly here for the Magpies.
The Bulldogs led by 13 at quarter time, 1 point at half time, 16 at three-quarter time. They're out to 28 points. They are flying home. 2 unanswered goals in this final term. Ackland leaps high. Man went without it. Good play by Fitzgerald. Half-distance kick. McDowell just swings around and boots the Maggies inside 50. A man out on his own is Archie. Couldn't take the mark. Recovery skills were good. Got it toward Evans. Evans has kicked 5. He's kicked 6. Port won't go away. But you must think that Centrals have got a winning break. And a lot would have to go right for Port to win this game.
Well, just with this sort of endeavour there with Corey Archie, ducks his head, gets underneath a couple of tackles, and Paul Evans turns it around the corner. Look, been very brave today, the Magpies. Matthew Knights will find a lot about his players in this last quarter. Whether or not they can sustain this for 4 quarters is probably the question. If they can use the ball well under pressure, make the right decisions, 4 goals in, well, still 20 minutes to go. Very much gets still game on.
So I made the call too early. Whoops. Ball back in the middle. School up over the top of Ackland. Slade couldn't take clean possession. Coming through the other way was De Pasquale. Down towards half forward. Pumps it towards Archie. Great trap, great hand pass. Brown releases Ashley into an open goal. Matthew Ashley 2 for Port Adelaide inside 40 seconds.
Yes, I think that call was a little bit too early, Neil.
Oh, come on, you agreed with it.
You agree.
Jumping ship I am. You see the value of getting the ball out of the middle. Corey Archie playing in front. Good hands to Tony Brown. And Matty Ashley, more renowned as a tagger and a tough-on baller, kicks a goal. And all of a sudden, you see Port Adelaide, they refuse to give in. It's the Port Adelaide of old today.
I think Tony Brown will be pretty unhappy with the decision just made. He sprinted to the interchange gates, burnt up all his energy, got the gates, they turned around and said, no, mate, we've made a mistake, go back on.
Oh, he'll be right. Sodas back in the centre, 22 points. A couple of answering goals taken by Davis, who's been outstanding today. His kick looking for Archie. Had Graham wearing him like a glove. Ball knocked out. towards Ashley. Ashley's half-distance kick to Burns. Can he weave some magic? He's done nothing all day. Was that a throw? McDowell, that's a fend-off too high. Sibanala takes into ground. Umpires have thrown away the whistle. Officer got the handball out the back to Slade. Slade has got Fitchner in some space. O'Loughlin closing. Handball over the top was a beauty. On the end of it, Gowans kicks forward. Getting back, Clayton takes the mark in his defensive 50. Game on at Elizabeth, 22 points the difference. Feagit, the kick has to be precision and finds Mann at half back. Magpies won't go away. Mann's kick to Feagit, who ran on. Steinburner did beautifully well. Ball toward the line. Gowans couldn't keep it in. Trying to get it back to Nathan Steinburner. 9.5 gone. 22 points the difference. Tell me whether that was a throw or not, Andrew.
Yeah, I think it is.
Well, umpire didn't, unfortunately for you.
It's one need, Ronnie Burns, he needs to lift, get amongst the goal, just the opportunities that the Magpies need.
Magpies just forcing the ball forward again. Krieg with a dangerous hand pass. Gowans releases the ball. Here comes McDowell from a long way back. He got in front of the pack and then couldn't take possession. That could have been in the back as well as sliding in under Thomas was... Wait for him to get up. Di Pasquale? No. Yes.
Well, 2 free kicks there, I thought. One to McDowell, then one to Di Pasquale.
I haven't minded the umpiring today. It's been consistent, and they haven't played ticky-touch with free kicks.
Margin 16 points. Elstone tries to take it out of the pack. James Gowan shows him how to with brother Chris. Chris up towards the goals. What's the bounce like? Well, thump clear by Parry into a bit of space. Gowans now opposed to Stevens. Did well to stop the hand pass at least. O'Loughlin's kick was clever to Elstone. Elstone has one flanking him. He ignored Mann, went inside to Clayton. Clayton in turn out to the far side of the ground. Brown opposed to Thomas. Thomas did well to get it to the front of the pack where he had some numbers. And Port Adelaide again just unable to get past half forward. Maybe they will this time. Di Pasquale makes the mistake of trying to run off. Now the Dogs get in close. Fitzner, then Krieg. Great hand pass forward. Coulter. He's a good left foot kick. He aims for Shell. Gets his man away from the ball. Goal coming up. A steadying one. No! Wow, the last thing you'd think. Shell's ball smothered. And away comes Port Adelaide again. And the fans breathe a sigh of relief.
Had a man over the top in Steinburner, didn't use him. Ronnie Burns kicks long to a contest. Archie getting back. Officer, they keep finding them, Central Districts. Officer stood his ground. It goes to Hopwood. Over the top, Sibanala to Fitzner. Bulldogs out of trouble. Fitzner down the line to Coulter and Feagit. Knocked away, boundary throw in. Daniel Shell had the perfect opportunity. The handball over the top. O'Loughlin did well.
Yeah, Daniel Shell just he tried to open the angle up. Just need to draw Ricky O'Loughlin. As you said, Steinburner was in the square, all on his own.
Off to Hyde's ankle at the other end in that last contest at centre half forward. I think he went over on it, so that's dangerous news for Centrals.
Well, if Port can go into attack, then they may be able to expose that. Taken by Ashley, threw it on the boot. McDowell, an Officer. Beautiful roving by Brown. Here come the Maggies. Evans is on a long lead. Kick, lights out, can't take the mark. Off to Hyde, wearing him like a glove. That ankle's recovered. Evans, second effort, off to Hyde. Crowd calls ball. Umpire threw the whistle away. It goes to Brown. Brown will kick it high. Archie flies. No one can take the mark. Ball hits the deck. In dispute, Thomas with pace. How's the kick? Precision. Finds Slade. He's had a lovely day today. Matty Slade.
28 possessions.
Thanks to Ian Mogridge. A couple of bounces. Left-hand bounces by Matthew Slade. Gets around Fitzgerald and tries to set them up. Poor kick, though. Let himself down. O'Loughlin should have taken the mark. Elstone wraps up his opponent. Ball up. This game is still on. We've ticked into 13 minutes. Roy's on the phone. I'd love to be on the end of that message. Or would you, Andrew?
No, I don't think so. Just unemotional, Roy Laird, but geez, he'd be happy with the way his players are toughing this out.
Di Pasquale taken to ground by Steinburner, gets possession again. Still the umpire calls play on. Di Pasquale did well to get a hand pass out. Feagit did well to get a kick. Ware surrendered the ball to Ashley. Ashley was good and clever and close. Mann, now Brown. Brown had his hands on hips before, was struggling for breath. Oh, and knocked over Elstone with a big hit coming in from Heath Hopwood. Oh, he turned around and Hopwood was there to say, hi, how you going?
just not the value of forward handballs. You can see a forward handball here by Peter Van Elstone. Just didn't know what was around him, wasn't facing goals. Heath Hopwood corralled him up and really buried him.
Ball on centre wing. Now Ashley over the ball, loses it. Gowans in tight. Now Ware puts his head down. Still the ball in dispute. Half a dozen bodies have some measure of possession of the ball, and so Tim Pfeiffer comes in and says, I'll throw it up, boys. Ashley and James Gowans. Ball to ground. Chris Gowans on the left foot, quickly inside 50. Shell opposed to Parry, pushed him away. Now it's over the back. Will he make a mistake this time? No! Daniel Shell with the goal, and Centrals now have a steadier.
And the Doggies just won that all-important takeaway from centre-half forward. You can see Chris Gowans gets it forward. Parry just lets the ball get behind him. A cardinal sim as a defender. And Daniel Shell, wherever the opportunity, this Walters in. He's not going to stuff this one up. He kicks his 5th for the day, so he's been a very good forward. Him along with Paul Evans have been the 2 key standout forwards today.
Those 2 kicked 11 goals without a miss.
Line straight to Daniel Shell. You'd think the door just got slammed shut. Daniel Shell being the man to do it. You just think that from here, Port need an X-factor. I don't think they can find one. I thought maybe earlier in the quarter, Ricky O'Loughlin to half forward may have been it, but I think they're just a little bit too far behind now, Andrew.
Probably maybe throw him in the centre. Just tried. He hasn't used a lot of gas so far today. Maybe try him in the centre. Maybe Fabian Francis. Just get some fresh legs through the midfield. They need to win the game now. Shut Central Districts down isn't going to be good enough.
Roy Lead making a change in his defence. Eve Sibanoa off the ground. Francis has gone down to the forward line for Port Adelaide. He's now been picked up by Cochrane.
Thanks, Mark. Ball hacked off the ground by Bello. Krieg. O'Loughlin. He's the Rolls Royce. Short kick is a good one. And it's been marked by Davis. Chad Davis. Given everything today.
23rd possession.
And a good player, the former Saint. Fitzgerald, I've liked his game as well. Kicks it inside 50. Evans backing back. Well done by Graham. Ashley did the roving front and square. Couldn't take the ball with him. Boundary throw in. 16 gone. And this game, a 22-point ball game. Boundary throw in. Time ticking away for Port Adelaide. Archie got it down to Fitzgerald. Couldn't get through. Another ball up. There's Tony Brown having a rest. Big call. Looks a bit proppy too. We'll go to Mark in a minute. Ball toward the line. Bello wants to find it. Steinburner. Underground handball finds James Gowans. His handball to no one. Out of bounds. So does the story on Brown.
Yeah, Michael, his work rate has been terrific today, the skipper, and I think he's just having a little bit of a breather with King back on the ground replacing him.
I just wonder about the wisdom of that. I mean, surely he'd be better with his footy smarts being rested maybe in a forward pocket.
Speaking of footy smarts, Chad Davis out of the pack. Oh, it's a bounce. Oh, just bounces away from goal. Still, it's not out of play. Off the height, hurts himself as he goes off the ground. And umpire calls play on advantage. Ware drives it down towards half forward. Coulter sliding in, missed the ball off the ground, socket out of bounds, and it's not off the height, it's in fact, or it is off the height, who's going to come off the ground. So I called it right the first time. I shouldn't have pointed out my mistake. Never mind. Off the height will come off the ground with that ankle, which I'm sure he injured some time ago, earlier in the quarter when there was that collision with Archie at marking contest at centre-half forward. Ball into play. Starting to become last roll of the dice for Port Adelaide. McDowell takes down his player, and Sibanoa coming back on the ground. So we see off the height receiving treatment on the bench. Sodas will update us as to just exactly what's wrong there. So ball down again. Lots of numbers again, Port Adelaide. Elstone one of them, off the left foot. Thomas read it best and earliest. The bounce though didn't favour him. Archie's hand pass was good. Davis set it up in front of goals, nobody there. And Ware falls back into the space and takes the mark, or rather Cochrane falls back into the space and takes the mark, and Central settle the play. Running out the back was Thomas. And running this side is Slade into a lot of space. Slade can turn around and go. No real pressure on him as he kicks up towards half forward. Krieg was the man. Ware was the rover. Ware now tries to burn off his player. Didn't quite do it. Got it up towards the 50 mark with the kick. Intercepting the ball, Fegan around the corner. That was ambitious. And Soda's almost got a touch, as did our camera crew, and the applause, believe me, for that bit of skill from Soda's.
I just about took the cameraman out, and it would have been about $40,000 worth of damage, and it wasn't worth risking my pay packet, Neil.
Geez, he would have been unlucky, wouldn't he, that cameraman, after 15 years of footy?
Good mark by Stevens. Free kick though will go to Fiegert, who'll dish it off to Stevens. Is there time for the Magpies to win this match? I think it's run out. Chad Davis, the possession, number 25 or 26, has a man in a lot of space on the outer side of the ground in Clayton. Which way will he go? He gets around Chris Gowans. Short kick. Oh, too far for Burns. Mark taken by Bello. It's all going to go right for Port Adelaide if they're going to get anywhere near the Bulldogs. Mark taken by Stevens. Had a man on the wing in Ackland. Uses him now. Prokopek closing. Ackland's got to get it on. Down the line. And finds Ashley. Thomas all over him. Thomas will be happy just to hold him up. Pies need to kick it inside 50 quickly. Ashley goes with a long kick. The target is Archie, but he can't take the mark. Graham at the back has taken the mark. Corey Archie, not much left in those pins, I don't think, at the moment.
Quentin Graham's done a fair job on him today too. Haven't really seen too much of Corey Archie.
Kicked a couple of goals, but I agree with you, Andrew. Graham's kick just to the bootlaces of Thomas, who gets away with a long kick. Krieg v Funk. Funk knocked it away. James Gowan's got around Stevens. Then onto his left boot. Slade in the middle of that lot will get a free kick. Advantage rule paid goes to Gowans, who finds Coulter. Coulter in a bit of space will sit it up high. Daniel Shell up against Perry. Shell to ground. Ball to ground. De Pasquale. Pack. Bounce. What a game of football we have had. It belies the scoreline of 22 points. Just got to feel that it's a little bit closer than that.
Yes, they've certainly been brave. Just their decision-making under pressure, Port Adelaide, has let them down today.
It has. De Pasquale. O'Loughlin got it to Fiegert, who's been terrific at halfback. Ditched after he kicked it. Nothing downfield. Fitzgerald and Steinburner. Fitzgerald, oh, got away. How did he slip that tackle? Long kick by Fitzgerald. Needed to be pinpoint. There's a man with plenty of experience. Two-time Western Fairest. The Doggies, Hopwood.
7 marks, 20 possessions.
Thanks, Smoggy. Shorts it out.
Cochrane taking his time. Tell you what, one team that'll be enjoying this afternoon, the Eagles. That's our match of the day next week. The Eagles at the top of the ladder, taking on Central District down at Woodville. And they'll be liking the job that the Magpies have done on the Doggies this afternoon. They've really had to earn this victory. Fitznut takes his time, squares it. Officer, short to Bello. A lot of space now for Bello. He can break and kick it inside 50. Opts to go wide to Thomas, or rather, Sibinala. Sibinala approaches 50. Sibinala with the chip pass, missed his target in Shell. The bounce over the back, and now Port Adelaide will have the opportunity to clear onto this side of the ground. Oh, that was a dangerous kick. Way from behind, flew over Stevens. Umpire called play on. And Stevens did well, got possession. O'Loughlin working in a confined space. Opens it up with a loopy hand pass. That was dangerous. He got away with it. Davis the 1-2 with Elstone. Off the half-back line, Elstone was short. Well done on his non-preferred foot. Burns is in a lot of space on the far side of the ground. You reckon the players are tired? There is a lot of space out there at the moment. Breaking for him was Clayton. Clayton to the goal square. Archie in best position takes the mark 20 metres out, or maybe even 15 metres out. And this should be a goal coming up for Port Adelaide.
And a good transference of play to the back line. They took some rest, they brought it in short, they used numbers to run it, switched it to the outer side, and a kick that favoured Corey Archie. Scored Quentin Graham underneath the footy. As I said, Corey Archie hasn't been... We saw him against Glenelg where he was outstanding at centre forward, been just workman-like today, and probably the points going to Quentin Graham. Well, 3 goals probably tips it back to even Stephen.
Archie for his third. No problems there. Third for the afternoon for Corey Archie. Margin to 16 points. At the time clock, well, 23.5 minutes. Is there any hope at all, Andrew?
I wouldn't think so with 23.5 minutes, probably 3.5, 4 minutes play. Need 3 goals, need some quick centre breaks. Mac's got to roll the dice now. You've got to run forward of the play. Hopefully you win the centre bounce. Get some real opportunist goals. Just can't see the leg speed or the winner in the middle. They still have the tags on. Would like to see him maybe release the tags and get your best players around the footy to see if you can maybe steal a couple of late goals.
Should be just over 3 minutes to go.
Quarters have gone around about 25-26. Schooler knocked it down. O'Loughlin, can he trap it? Just delayed the handball enough for Clayton. Clayton kicks it long. Parry's been thrown forward. And he's taken the mark, Craig Parry. Late run by Port Adelaide. He's got to get on with it. The lead is by Stevens. It's a good kick. Stevens takes the mark. He needs to go back and kick a long goal. You just would think that this is too late for the Magpies at the moment. Scott Stevens from right on 50. Long kick. He just pushed it away. Schooler knocked it down. Or did it make it? It's a goal. It's back to 10 points. Lovely long kick by Scott Stevens. Andrew Rogers, is it possible?
Well, anything's possible, I suppose, Michael, but they need to win the centre breaks, and Stevens, who can be used forward and back, just kicks a long bomb from outside 50. Just noticed Roy Laird on the phone, and just prior to that bounce, pushed Daniel Shell back in defence. I suggest he'll throw another couple back in defence just to try to tie up this forward line of the Magpies.
Well, at the 6-minute mark, it was 28 points when Steinberner kicked his goal for Centrals. And now Port Adelaide have whittled it away. Schooler, officer, out of the middle, great kick to Steinberner. Got himself under the ball over the back. Steinberner goes after it. Feger couldn't stop him. Steinberner off the ground. Clayton came at it for Port Adelaide. And now breaks for Chris Gowans, or James Gowans, and Sivanala, or rather Switala, try an S. And Switala was in a lot of space there. And as I said earlier, players very, very tired.
And as I suggested, Port Adelaide needed to roll the dice, and they did run forward of the play. And that created the space for Adam Switala, and just good vision there by Gowans, just to see him on his left foot. Ekes out plenty of time here as he has a shot for a Matthew Lloyd type shot for goal. And he should really finish with a goal and do really put this game beyond doubt.
Well, Switala did spend 2 years at Essendon on the rookie list, so he comes in now from 45 metres, usually a very good kick, and hits the very top of the post. I think that actually bounced right at the top of the post. You won't see that often. 11 points the margin.
Makes it a very easy decision for the goal umpire as we see this on replay. It's trying to work back, and we just see it. It has gone right on the top.
Queued up.
There's an extension at the top there. If that extension wasn't there, that's a tough call, isn't it?
It certainly would be. It would have been interesting to see what the goal umpire actually gave for that.
Little red bit in the top. Funk, that's 11 points. Away to O'Loughlin. Time, you would think, has run out. 26 minutes gone. Funk keeps running. Needs to dispose of the footy. They need a quick score, a quick goal. There's a lovely mark by Frokapak. Porter goes 27 minutes. And the Bulldogs have prevailed in an outstanding game of football here at Elizabeth. There's Josh Coulter making his return. Roy Laird would be happy. What a game of footy. Good crowd in at Elizabeth. It's full time. Central District will remain in second position, or may they go to top position with the Eagles having the bye. 13-11-89. Port Adelaide 12-6-78. What a game of football, Andrew.
Yeah, it's a very enjoyable game of footy today. It was hard, tough in the clinches. Both teams put a lot of pressure on the ball carriers. And just the Central District's class at the end of the day got them over the line. They had some better players in Matthew Slade, Marco Bello, who carried the footy and broke it open late in the third quarter and early in the last. And Port Adelaide just persisted all day. If Matthew Knights had that effort from his players every week, they would find themselves not in the predicament that they are. They would find themselves very much in the mixes for a finals race. But unfortunately, with the loss today, I'd suggest that may well be the end of the Magpies' season as far as making the finals.
Yes, well, they came into this match in 7th position with just 3 wins for the season. And Port Adelaide now have 3 wins and 8 losses for the season. Very disappointing. And as you said at the head of the program, this would be the 3rd season in a row that they have not made the finals. Here's Mark Soderstrom with Marco Bello.
Thanks, Neil. Marco, looked like a very tough, tight contest for the whole day.
Yeah, we knew that was going to come. We took it as a final. You know, they were fighting for a top 5 spot. We were fighting for what might be a top spot next week against the Eagles. So it was a tough encounter, and it showed.
You must have been happy a pair of goals in the third quarter just started to open the game up well.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I kicked a couple of goals, so it's good to get a couple on the board.
We certainly look like you enjoyed them. And next week, top of the table clash against the Eagles.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Obviously, they've had the week off, so we'll see how they treat that, and another tough encounter, no doubt.
Marco, well done today.
So just cheers.
Very happy Marco Bello as we just have a quick look at some of the work that he did today. Started slowly, unlike Central's.
Yeah, he certainly did, and you just see that where he carried the footy there with his leg speed, and you just get a good shepherd there by Daniel Shaw, but it was himself and Matty Slade who really broke the game open. Nathan Steinburner was another that broke the game open when it really needed to be broken open, and they just gained that ascendancy which the Magpies were unable to get back late in the game.
As we see the Central's players coming off the ground now, and the cheers will go up, and "Go you Dogs" will be the call. And as the song goes, they're a happy team at Central's. I don't know about the team, but certainly the fans are. Anytime you can beat Port Adelaide, there are people here with long memories. 1995 and 1996 when they lost 2 grand finals to the Magpies. I think they're very happy anytime they can get a victory over Port Adelaide. And this is the tale of the course of the match.
Yes, very early in the game, the Magpies started ferociously in their tackling and they're putting pressure on. The Doggies, just under that pressure, they're able to exert their own pressure back in the game and make the most of their forward opportunities. And Daniel Shaw kicks his first goal of his 6 he kicked for the day. He was very instrumental. Ronnie Burns just probably didn't see enough of him today. Ever the opportunist, really needed him to stand up, and he just didn't do enough really to impose himself on this game. They were screaming out for an opportunist there late in the game, and he really didn't take the most of it. Although this man there, Paul Evans, was instrumental early, especially in the second quarter when he kicked 3 goals to Port Adelaide's charge. He brought them back into the game with straight kicking, fast leading up the middle, and offered a real focal point for the Magpies as they went forward.
And that effort, as you mentioned, from the Magpies, if they were able to get that effort every week and get Paul Evans fit and in consistent form like that, then surely they would have done much better.
Their forward line is littered with a lot of very good players. You talk about Ronnie Burns, through Fabian Francis there, he's got Paul Evans, able to play Corey Archie up there, you've got Nathan McDowell, there is a number of really good players. Scott Stevens is another. So they've got plenty of really good players to get the ball up there, they just don't seem to click well enough.
You see, just some good work by Shell, but again, Ricky O'Loughlin, interesting choice to play him in the back line this afternoon.
Oh, look, it worked to a certain extent. Some decision-making at some occasions was really let him down. He will get better at the role. He needs to get himself fitter, I think, is what Ricky needs to be, so that he can be thrown on the footy, very much in a Justin Sikalila type role for the Eagles.
Daniel Shell, that was the mark that led to his 5th goal. And at that stage, they were really under siege, Central District, weren't they? They steadied a couple of times in that last quarter when Port Adelaide most definitely came at them.
Yeah, they certainly did. And once again, I'll talk about the leg speed from Nathan Steinburner. It was instrumental. Just would have liked to seen Craig Parry go forward, maybe Nigel Feegett take up Daniel Shell, just to see if they could pinch a goal or 2 out of a wrestling ruckman, either Kane Ackland or Craig Parry up forward, just to provide a valuable foil to Paul Evans.
We see there the margins, 13 points at quarter time for Centrals, 1 point at half time, and then 16 at 3/4 time. And the final margin, 11 points in favour of the Doggies. A very, very hard-fought win, and sets them up for an interesting contest against the top-of-the-table Eagles next week.
Yes, I suppose next week there's 2 ways you look at it. You look at Central District's coming off a hard game, the Eagles coming off a bye.
Very happy, mighty fighting Dogs. So we'll just have a quick look through those goal kickers. We've talked about them extensively, though. Daniel Shell, Marco Bello and Luke Cowan with the multiples for Centrals. And for the Magpies, Paul Evans, very sharp up forward, and Corey Archie with 3 goals. And the stats, well, what do they tell us?
They tell us that Port Adelaide fought back well in the last quarter. They had plenty of the footy, were unable to finish off. Inside 50s margin, centre breaks important, 13-7 in the Bulldogs' favour.
And Roy Laird, the coach of Centrals, is down in the rooms with Sodas. And have you cracked it, or has he cracked a smile, Sodas?
Well, thanks, Neil. I think no doubt Roy will find a smile sometime during the interview with that win. Roy, Port Adelaide, they had a real crack at you, but you got the points that you needed in the end.
Yeah, it was an important win. It was an important game just overall, in that there was a lot of pressure on. Port, I thought, applied some really good quality pressure early, and it probably just showed up us being a bit fumbly at different times. But the more games we can play under that sort of pressure, the better.
One big difference we noticed was the leg speed of Bellows Steinburner during the third term and the fourth term really did change the game a little.
Yeah, it was important. I thought our clean take, or lack of it, in the first half was important, but once we were able to take a few balls clean, I thought Craig took some clean ball in the third quarter, and our leg speed was able to come into it, but you can't use your leg speed if you haven't got the footy. We were fumbling.
Roy, we've noticed that today you went into the game with Luke Cowan and also Paul Sculler as your preferred ruck combination. At times you've used Jason McKenzie to great effect. What is the best combination you like, and do you pretty much leave it up to the opponent who you're playing as to who gets selected?
Oh no, we like to sit down and pick our side first up. It's really been a case of Buckets, or Jason McKenzie's played a lot of half games, quarter and half games for us, so we've been looking for him to have a run in the twos to get some run under his belt. He's done well, and Sponge has got a good leap, so we can use him at different times. But no, we're still tossing up what's probably our best combination at the moment.
The Eagles would have sat back and watched today's game, having the bye, and it sets the game up beautifully for next week, knowing that they did get over you in round 3.
Yeah, I'm sure they would have had a good look. Look, the Eagles are no doubt the form side, and we're going to have to improve and take another step next week, but we look forward to it.
Roy, well done today. We look forward to seeing you next week.
Thanks, Mark.
Roy Laird, a happy coach there, and Central's victors by 11 points. Scores from other grounds, I can tell you, somewhat of an upset in their heritage match at Prospect. North Adelaide beaten by Glenelg by 15 points, and South Adelaide getting over West Adelaide and shoring up 5th position with a 36-point victory.
Yes, important games for both. Glenelg, obviously the pressure's been on Noble. Some of the pressure goes off him. But also South Adelaide all of a sudden are a genuine finals chance this year.
Yes, and Mark Soderstrom will join us again along with Michael Maney now. And Sodas, I would have thought that, they'd be really impressed with that victory, Glenelg.
Yeah, that's a big one, isn't it? A heritage game. Glenelg going back to their old days and getting a great win over North Adelaide. Surprising season, isn't it? The two top teams, Central Districts and the Eagles, they're no doubt going to fight out, I would say, the grand final from this time. But, from then on, that third position, Sturt, and also North Adelaide, and there's a couple other clubs in the mix. It's anyone's guess at the moment.
And Michael Maney, you made a call earlier today about the pressure that David Noble would be under, and as Andrew just said, the pressure's just been let off somewhat.
Exactly right, Neil, and I suppose Matthew Knights was under the pressure too. They didn't win, but I think the Magpies really did play some top football. Good to see Glenelg get a win on the board. I mean, it's good for the competition if they can string some wins together. I don't think it's too far away either for the Magpies. I think that if they, as Andrew Rogers said, if they play with some passion the way they did today, I think some wins aren't too far away.
Yes, and South Adelaide, I'm just told Ian Mogridge, our statistician, just signalling to me with 4 fingers, which I assume means they've actually got into 4th position with that victory over West Adelaide. So they're, they started badly, but they look the goods now, don't they?
They certainly did. Robert Pyman's obviously got him humming him along nicely down there. They're gelling together well as a side. Just a matter of whether or not they can take on the big 3, Sturt, the Eagles and Centrals. They really, although they beat the Eagles early in the year, I suspect now that they're getting some respect in the competition, which is what the club was really about.
Well, the test will come in future weeks as we look ahead to next week. As we mentioned a couple of times in the call, the Eagles playing Central District. They are hosting them at the Woodville Oval, and this season they've already beaten the Eagles, or rather they've already beaten the Bulldogs once this season. So the other matches there, Port Adelaide against West Adelaide, another tough contest for Westies who are really struggling with injury. North against Norwood, and Sturt against South Adelaide. That will be another interesting contest too. And Glenelg probably disappointed, having won this afternoon over the Roosters. They've now got a bye.
Well, they can enjoy their win for 2 weeks, can't they, Neil?
they can enjoy their win for 2 weeks.
Yeah, they can have a nice break, have a nice week off, and then get ready to go in a couple of weeks' time.
And so does that match, South Adelaide and Sturt at Unley. That will be another interesting contest in what no doubt will be a bog at Unley.
Yeah, it was pretty ordinary last week, wasn't it? We did see the Blues go down to the Eagles. Hopefully there's not much rain this week and it can clean up and be a good contest between those two sides where they can both show their football skills rather than the weather dictate the game, Neil.
And Michael Maney, very quickly I'll ask you about Norwood. How much pressure is McIntosh under now?
Still under plenty of pressure right from the start of today. I just think that I think you'll see his term out, but let's hope that he can do pretty well and get a few more wins on the board. Centrals like it pretty tough, and I think this hit out today, they'll be cherry ripe for the Eagles next week.
Well, we'll see what happens. We look forward to your company next week. It was Central District this afternoon by 11 points. A tough contest with Port Adelaide at least. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to Andrew. Thanks to Michael. Thanks to Sodas. I remembered all the names. Wasn't that good? Good afternoon from the Elizabeth Oval.